Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, and with me today, right down there, is a guy that you know named Ty Beard. How are you, sir?
Doing fine.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank
Uh,
you.
if you guys are confused about the format, let me just tell you how much YouTube has pissed me off. They have decided to change or to eliminate Hangouts on air, which means the little cool face switching thing, yeah, that's gone. That's just gone. No one gets that anymore. So that's lovely.
I
So
may have
now
reported you, Nick, and that might be why.
reported me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I'll take credit for it. Did we lose the case on that one?
Yes. Well, this little thing, something I just slipped on.
Yeah. If of course you guys can see the shirt that Mr. Beard is wearing, very funny. Yes, immediately. We want that shirt. That's in the chat.
Okay.
We want that
I'll
shirt.
pass that on to my daughters. This is courtesy of them.
Yeah, that's theirs. So you guys will have to. I would love to sell you that shirt, but it's not mine. It's not mine at all.
I just hope the Duck Dynasty folks don't have a trademark on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we got the idea from Frog God. They have a shirt that's pretty funny. I won't get into what it is, but they sell a shirt at conventions that's quite humorous. So we're inspired by that.
Well, I think it works well. I think it's also true. I
Yep.
I can't stop losing.
No.
Really, Trump said you'd get tired of winning, which is true. So I switched to losing, and I'm not tired of it.
No. Well, listen, we can always lose tomorrow. That's
I'm sure. I'm sure it's gonna happen. I'm sure it's gonna happen. Okay, but we are not gonna talk much at all about Vic's case here today. This is a lighthearted stream, but I do want to, in a couple minutes, if you could just do a run through of the results of the hearing today, just to
sure.
kind of let people know what's coming up. You don't have to talk about like what transpired during the hearing or anything like that. If I can get a transcript of it later, I'll try and get one of those, and then I can go through that. But,
well, I don't know that we have a transcript of that one.
oh wait, no, because it's a phone. It was a phone hearing.
Well, and we didn't specifically request a court reporter, which is unusual for me. Actually, I normally get everything on a court reporter, but it was kind of it was a anyway. Our technology, as you know, our technology blew up on us, an hour before we had to set this up. Because the way these things work is, the party calling the hearing. It's our obligation to get all of opposing counsel on a conference call, then call the court. And of course, although I tested it yesterday afternoon with 7 people, the same number of lawyers that we were going to have on this conference call, and it worked flawlessly. This morning, it completely locked up. So,
As it does. I did that the other day. I tested. What did I test? Oh, I tested my internet connection. As you I believe are aware, I was down in Conroe at a resort thing for a family function, and I tested the internet and I tested the bandwidth before the show, and it said that I had like 3,900 kilobytes a second upload, which is actually pretty decent to do a stream in 720. It's not great for 1080, but it's good enough for 720, no problem. So I then go to do the show, and it doesn't get anywhere near that. Just like 2 hours later, and it was an abject disaster.
and doing that freezing thing and jumping and that kind of thing. I mean,
Oh, it was so bad it actually locked up my entire computer. Like, I don't know how it did that. I think I was just so furiously clicking and swearing at it that
you were beaming out psychic energy that was causing
it went on strike. It was like,
I can't take this anymore.
but yeah. So I know that goes. Okay, so that was a question that I had. So 7 lawyers. So that means that all of the counsel for all of the parties was on the call.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's been speculation that Lemoyne has been just running complete lead on Monica, and and Ron's case, and so I wasn't sure if Casey and Andrea Perez would be there.
Yeah, they were present. I don't recall. I don't think they said anything, but that's nothing particularly sinister or memorable about that. It was a pretty short hearing.
Yeah, and it was a short hearing, and it seemed like, I mean, most of the action would have been concentrated between you and Lemoyne, with a little bit of a throw in from. Why are we talking about this? From Volney. Anyway, we can move past this. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. I want to give people enough time to filter in
Okay.
as we go. Otherwise, we'll get questioned about it later and have to revisit. The other thing we're gonna do mean tweets today. So
that'll be interesting.
I had my Discord. I asked them very politely to pull up just a bunch of tweets that are mean to either you or me or both of us.
Oh God.
And
Well,
I mean, they gave me a lot, so we'll see how long it's funny. And we'll read them, and we can get roasted by Law Twitter and others.
We're not going to be offended, but we will be grading the quality.
I think it's great. Being offended on the internet is not the best play, and there are many people who are very offended.
Why would you go on the internet? And I mean, that's where I mean, the internet is where everyone gets offended. I mean, what? You know what I mean? I don't understand some of these folks sometimes.
Hey, what's on your whiskey glass there? Is that a Star Trek whiskey glass?
Of course, I already told you that I've embraced my inner nerd.
I know, but I didn't see the whiskey glass. Someone in chat just pointed it out.
Yeah, this is an etched set of tumblers that a buddy of mine gave me for, I think, my birthday.
Very
A couple years ago. Yeah. Oh, I got a big story real quick. This is humorous.
Oh, okay.
So he sends me a picture that he's going to a convention somewhere, and he sends me a picture of essentially the Romulan cloaking device from the Enterprise incident. Those of you who are classic Trek fans will know what I'm talking about. The rest of you just deal with it. Anyway, well, I immediately recognized it. So, Romulan cloaking device. And then he sends me a picture of one of the weapons that the Romulans used. And it's sitting on a table, and there's a thing of paint, and it's obviously on a work table of some kind. So I texted back and said, what is that? Is that a kit or a scratch build? What is that? And he replies, well, it's a resin kit that I had, but it wasn't accurate, and I had to fabricate the correct pieces and get it painted right, and then I had to make the belt and everything. And I texted back, Vic, this is why they hate you. The guy is insanely talented at so many things. It's like, if I didn't like him so much, I'd probably hate him for that. But anyway, so Vic, if you're watching that, sorry about that, buddy, but
I don't think he watches this show.
No, I wouldn't if I were him.
No, he should not. He should never watch this show.
Well,
ever.
The thing is, that Star Trek set that we went to, that Bullock and I had our pictures in, a great number of the pieces and elements of the set were things that he built himself. Because we were walking, he said, that's just a little thus and such that I did, and I mean, so yeah, I mean, he is a very talented guy, but anyway, I just thought that was pretty funny. Right.
Okay, so we've got the hearing, we've got this, and then were we going to talk about? I think we were briefly going to talk about the Sandman lawsuit just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I haven't been able to get fully up to speed on that, but it's an interesting, outcome with some linkage to what we're doing. So
right. So let's start there. So this is the CNN and Washington Post were sued by Nicholas Sandman. He's the kid who stood there with the punchable face while some guy came up and drummed at him passively. Or whatever.
Yeah,
is very, very weird. And because of that, he was much reviled by the internet for a period of about 48 hours. And a lot of that was kind of fueled by these news stories about the incident. So he filed suit against Washington Post and CNN for $250 million each, roughly. And both of those cases were dismissed just the other day,
Yeah.
just in the past 2 days or something like that. And so did you have any thoughts about it? I mean, I went through the initial complaint against, I think, CNN on my channel when it came out. And
Yeah, I didn't realize you had done that. I read the pleadings when they first came out. In fact, I put them in a folder in our job folder on the case we're handling right now, and noted that this is something that I want everybody to look over. I don't recall being overwhelmed by the quality of the pleadings, and I'm not attacking counsel on that. I mean, but it seemed to me that the pleadings were awfully overwrought. Well, that's not the right word. Some guy today I read something had a word for it, narrative type pleadings.
right.
And I think, as you can tell from the Manana case, I don't particularly care for narrative pleadings. I plead the facts in the law. Jim will sometimes have a little flourish in there, and I usually let him do that. But whining in your pleadings, I just don't think is a very good idea. I've never seen it accomplish anything, and I'm sorry, but when I see it in pleadings from opposing counsel, first thing that pops into my head is they don't believe they have a good case. So right out of the chute, I remember being a little bit kind of put off by that. That makes any sense.
Right. And Texas in particular, the being a notice pleading state, the narrative sort of pleading is even less.
Yeah.
It's less necessary, I'll say. In some states, they really want you to give a factual basis to your pleading that is significantly more robust. But even that.
That's a real good point. I hadn't thought of that. But
Yeah.
even if I were in those other states, I just wouldn't be whining in my pleadings.
No, I think these are in federal court, which I don't think you have.
It was Eastern District of Kentucky, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Because that's where the kid is.
I didn't look at the political makeup of the court, but I doubt seriously that played into it.
Right.
And of course, well, as we both know, First Amendment law kind of cuts diagonally across politics. I mean, it's a curious.
Yeah, and my main problem with the pleadings was when I read them, it looked like they were really trying to, well, they were getting at something that is at least tangentially related to Vic's case, and that is the gist. They were trying to get at the gist of the articles, but I think when you read the pleadings and they go through like the 5 revisions of the articles that were in the Washington Post, that at each stage, they're really trying to link these very general statements talking about the whole groups of the kids to just Nicholas Sandmann. And that was...
that's a little bit of a stretch.
Right. But
and they didn't get all the... I mean, if I recall, didn't they sue the media companies, but they didn't go after the individual reporters and that type of thing? Right.
And I think the real defamatory stuff popped up from some specific commentators who might have linked to the stories, but I think they did a poor choice of targets on that one.
Yeah, and again, we're Monday morning quarterbacking, so take that for what it's worth.
Right.
I would agree with you. I think, and again, there's some tangential relevance to our case. I think you have to get the critical parties when you file a lawsuit like this, because the problem is, it's way too easy for the court or for the jury to let them off, the people you did sue off, if they can show that other people were really the ones that caused a lot of the damage. It's the case we're in right now. I didn't necessarily want to sue one of the parties, but that party was necessary to get the complete, to get all the targets that we needed.
Right.
And I really don't know what. I don't know why they wouldn't have gone after those reporters or those columnists or whatever they were. It seems.
I think Kathy Griffin was one of the nasty people. Or I don't know if it was Kathy Griffin. Well, I mean, she definitely is. But
wouldn't you want to get your? Wouldn't you be sure you got your legal fee up front if you had her in front of a jury?
Yeah.
Especially in Kentucky of all places,
She's very likable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But one of the things that's an interesting difference between that case
Oh, by the
and
way, Nick, before we get started, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. There it is. Just read it and weep.
we're having technical difficulties. I'm losing connection with Ty.
That's the Jack Daniels bourbon that I've been drinking.
Just shameful. Just shameful. One of the critical differences, though, that you mentioned to me earlier is it seems like they took down
Yeah.
the stories when demanded. That was
Yes. I know that some of them did, but I think they all did. They all mitigated damages when they were sent the demand letters, and you know, I guess the Kentucky equivalent of the TDMA letters that we have in Texas. And you know, I got to admit, I don't understand why anyone who is going to get sued for defamation wouldn't take them down. The damage has already been done for the most part.
right.
What would you possibly have to gain by just leaving these posts up?
Well, if you win, you could go ahead and post them again.
Yeah, sure. And there's no prejudice that attaches to pulling them down. I mean, it's a well settled function of the law. I think you got into this, I think, last night a little bit on your stream, that, you know, it's okay to say, you know, I don't agree with you, but it's easier just to give you your way on this one point than to fight about it.
It's there's a practicality to practicing law versus theorizing about law and talking about it in the abstract. And the practicality is that when you're faced with you know, thousands of dollars a week, a month, a day in legal fees, and then, of course, facing potential damages, the practical matters take over. And you say, okay, you know, if we had an unlimited budget, we could do this and this and this, and we could fight it, and we could not worry about it. We could get into these nice, big First Amendment questions that we could try and take all the way to the Supreme Court. Or we could take down the article and save ourselves $100,000.
You made an interesting observation. I think you made it on your stream, and I think you made it to me that I just had an epiphany. Is that so many of the people commenting on the case appear to be approaching this like law school problems,
right?
And I don't remember a single time. And this would, you know, wouldn't this be a good exam question? Okay, any law professors, real law professors who are listening, just hear me out. This would be an outstanding question. Ask the typical law question, the law school exam question, and say, your billable rate is X $100 an hour, and your client can afford to pay you $5,000 or whatever. What is the most efficient way to handle this matter that gives you the greatest chance of success within the scope of that $5,000 or whatever budget? Because
right.
that would be an outstanding exam question that would hit the absolute cusp of what the real practice of law is about.
Well, and the problem, of course, with your exam question is that would force law schools to teach people how to run law firms.
Right, and law schools teach people how to be law professors. They don't teach anything about actually practicing law.
Right.
I envy the doctors. Because my physician told me one time, he said, the great thing about medical school is, I think by the second year even, you're actually in the hospitals and you're being treated as a doctor, and you're learning how to do the job, not theorize about it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, law school doesn't do that, y'all. You have to learn as you go.
Law school is something you get through to get to your career as a lawyer. The usefulness of law school, in my opinion, is of very modest worth.
Yeah, so very interesting that you bring that up. While I was down in Texas, I listened to this podcast called Revisionist History, and it's by Malcolm Gladwell, who's a fantastic writer.
Yeah. Yes, I've got some of his books in my library. I just can't remember what they were.
Outliers, Blink,
yes.
And What the Dog Saw. I have all three of those. He also wrote David and Goliath, I think, which is why basically his theory on why David should have been expected to win, and then talking about different David and Goliath stories. I haven't read that one, but except I read the first chapter at a bookstore, but I haven't read the rest of it. Anyway, Malcolm did. He and his producer took the LSAT on a lark. And the reason they took the LSAT was because they did or he read a paper on Social Science Resource Network talking about how the LSAT favors a certain kind of thinking and that it's not really conducive to making good lawyers.
No, but it does correlate very highly with good grades in law school.
Right, but of course
I managed to defeat that correlation, but that's a different discussion for a different day.
But his argument is why, and why does that correlate to good grades in law school? Because law school is made to favor the same type of thinking that the LSAT is made to favor. And then he was bringing up examples. Anyway, this is a really roundabout way to get to a point that I found very interesting. The guy who wrote the paper does analytics for law firms. And what he does is he determines the success rates of candidates for being employed for remaining employed at law firms. And the one data, so he does Moneyball for lawyers. That's the dumb way to put it. He does Moneyball for lawyers. And the one thing that they found that's most interesting from his firm is that the law school you go to has no bearing on your success rate at a firm. None.
No.
So
I'm sure it affects your selection.
Right.
But once you're in, no. I find it totally credible.
And that's what what his group does is advises law firms on how to select people based on how they will perform once they're selected. So it bypasses the pedigree question, and it says, does the Harvard grad do any better working for a law firm than the guy who went to the Michigan State or whatever law school? And their answer is no. It has no bearing on it, which I found to be very, very interesting, because a lot of people, lawyers especially, really focus on their pedigree. And they like to throw it around. But
there was a time when we were large. We're actually a smaller firm than we were 2 years ago. Just attrition that I haven't found the right people to replace and that kind of thing. Nothing particularly apocalyptic. But at one point, more than half of the people in our firm were cum laude graduates. The senior partner was not one of those. In fact, when Senator Hughes joined us, I threatened to waterboard him unless he admitted to his cum laude-dom. Actually, another one, I called her in very sternly. I said, I just found out something that you didn't tell me. And, if you'd told me, we could have worked this out, but I'm very, very disappointed. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I can't, you hid this from me. And now I'm in an awful position because I can't let you get away with this, essentially misrepresenting yourself. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, okay, I'm going to give you one chance. Where did you graduate in your class? She goes, number 4. And I went, no.
You're fired. Get out.
She said, oh my God, you're pranking me, aren't you? And I said, well, I'm very disappointed, but I guess we'll just have to let that slide. But anyway.
Well, yeah, that's
now, all joking aside, anybody that graduates cum laude from a law school has worked their ass off. If they haven't done anything else, that's worthy of some degree of respect. But when I went to law school, my attitude was I was going to a trade school. I wasn't doing a graduate liberal arts experience. I actually came from that. I did a fair amount of master's level work in history before I went to law school. I wanted to learn how to do a job, and I guess
I wish you would have. I wish you would have learned how.
Yeah. Then I could have been a super lawyer. Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
You don't want to be a super lawyer?
I really don't. Paying anyone for perps is really not my style.
I think I need to crowdfund it. Crowdfund my super lawyer.
Now that would be funny.
No, I couldn't do that with a straight face. That'd be
No,
so. That'd be horrible.
well, it's like a lot of things. I mean, if it's important to somebody, I don't see it does any harm. I mean,
Well, there are actually a lot of ethics board member lawyers who have written plenty of articles about how it does do harm.
yeah, but how the ethics boards are. They're just terrified that we might actually run the practice of law like a business. It's like, the average client, in my opinion, the average client doesn't give a tinker's damn about your super lawyer status. It's like I've told young lawyer, I think I've told you this one time. Not one time in 22 years practicing law has anyone asked me where I went to law school.
Right.
Now, every now and then somebody might ask, 6 months or a year after they've hired me or we've been through some stuff, but nobody cares. I mean, do you ask your doctor what medical school he graduated from? I never have.
Now that you think about it, I probably should.
Yeah.
That one I might want to know. Where's the?
I don't know. I kind of like living in ignorance on that point. But I mean, that's you don't ask your mechanic where he got his mechanic's license, or for that matter, even if he is licensed. So a lot of that kind of stuff, look, if it makes people feel better and they don't have anything better to do with their money, I guess that's fine. But really, just not my style.
I think I need to send my ethics board a cake or something.
At least a bottle of whiskey or something.
I got another one the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
never going to catch you. I don't have any chance of catching you, Nick.
I got back from Texas and I had one waiting in my inbox.
I feel strangely inadequate.
Yeah, well, get used to it. I'm gonna out ethics everybody.
Yeah, but yeah, you probably ought to call them and just ask them what kind of whiskey they like, because you're in a state like Minnesota, you probably are the only bar complaints they're getting. I can't imagine there's a giant bar in Minnesota anyway.
There is in my house. Okay, all right. Well, let's summarize. I think we're at pretty good levels of viewership here. Let's summarize the results of the hearing today. So, for those of you who are unaware, there was a telephone conference this morning, and the question was, you were asking for an extension because all of the TCPA hearings were going to be heard on August 8th. Yep. And then you had made a motion to strike some of Funimation's evidence and set that for hearing on August 8th as well. Can you briefly describe the process of setting a hearing in Texas? Because there's, I've explained it, but I don't practice there. So why don't you just go ahead and explain it?
For the most part, the only requirement is that you have to give opposing counsel 3 days notice. It's much like depositions. In theory, you can just set a hearing whenever you darn well please. Now, as a practical matter, courts prefer us to try to, be reasonable with one another. And I would say that the local rules in Tarrant County, if you read them, really emphasize that. Tarrant County is what I would describe as a down-to-earth courthouse.
Right.
They don't have a lot. They don't seem to me to have a lot of patience for stupid lawyer tricks, and that's backed up by local counsel. Some colleagues I have that are actually involved in the case with us. They don't appear on the pleadings or anything, but they're I had never been in Judge Chuck's court, for example, and one friend of mine gave me a nice rundown on what the court how he is.
Now, is that because you've never been in any courtroom? Because that's what I've heard.
Well, I mean, I learned everything from you, Nick. I mean,
thank you. Thank you. I am not only your trainer, but the puppet master. So
yeah. Now, at some point, we're going to have to sort this out because I've also been accused of using you somehow, and the puppet can't be the puppet master, right?
Unless the puppet master wants to. So what I have to do is I have to pull the strings that pull the strings on me.
Okay.
So I give you orders on how to order me to do something, and then that's how it happens. I think.
That sounds good to me. Yeah. So anyway, to answer your question, so
yes,
3 days notice, you do it now. As a general rule, I like to ask opposing counsel, when they're available. The court, of course, is subject. First thing you do is you call the court and you say, "What days do you? I'd like to set a hearing on this date. What do you have?" And the coordinator will say, "Well, I don't have anything that day." "Well, when can you get us in?" Well, and that's what happened in this case. I was actually going to set that hearing 3 days from, because in my opinion, I think the motion to strike should have been heard before the anti-SLAPP motion. I wanted the court to have time to rule on that.
Right.
So I was going to set it 3 days and be done with it. In a perfect world, that hearing would have happened this week. But court coordinator says, "No, we don't. The earliest time I've got is on the 8th. Okay, so we set it on the 8th. So then once you set it, you notice opposing counsel of the hearing. And then if I'm not mistaken, they have a 3-day window where they could quash the hearing, or is that... No, that's for depositions.
Okay.
For the hearing, basically what they do is they simply say, "Look, I can't make it." And then you get in, and again, we're now talking about informal rules. I can't remember a time where a hearing was set in a short term like that, and opposing counsel said, "I can't make it," and the court didn't make some kind of accommodation. I mean, I'm sure it happened somewhere, but it hadn't happened. First of all, I wouldn't. I mean, my general style is not to be a dick.
Right.
And I'm not accusing anybody in this case of being a dick. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, though, if someone genuinely can't make a hearing, bumping it to the next day, refusing to do that is a jerk move, and it's not going to end well for you, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we set the thing, and it was set on the 8th. Well, obviously we had there's a lot going on in this case, and as we got deeper into working through the motions to strike that we filed and are going to file, I said, well, we're going to need more time. Anybody can look at the public pleadings. You can look at my single exhibit that I filed this morning for that hearing, and you can figure out the whole argument right there from that exhibit, because it lays out all the activity in the case, the total pages. I think, opposing counsel has filed some very, very voluminous motions, in my opinion. My motions would have been a great deal shorter if I'd done them. But in any event, we need time to work through all that, figure out what we're going to object to, what we're going to try to strike, and all that. So that's, so the procedure is you ask opposing counsel. You say, "Hey, I need additional time. You got a problem with that?" Opposing counsel in this case unanimously actually said, "No, we're not going to give you any time." And I said, "Okay." So we called up and asked the court if they could work us in and give us a telephone hearing. It's easier for the court to do that, and frankly, it was easier for us. Although I almost drove to Tarrant County. So that's one of the odd little quirks about telephone hearings. You can actually still go to the courthouse and be in the presence of the judge. It isn't at all uncommon to have a telephone hearing where some lawyers are in the judge's chambers and others are on the phone.
Right.
And if I had thought for a moment that my opponents were going to do that, I absolutely would have hopped in the car. But I thought, well, they're probably not going to do that. This is really a pretty minimal level hearing. It's important. We felt like we needed additional time, and obviously the court agreed with us because we got the result we wanted. So. Yeah.
Well, and I think, of course, it's very interesting that, some people might think it's a minimal sort of hearing, but opposing counsel clearly didn't.
No, they brought their A game, which is fine. I mean, I bring mine every time too, so I'm not criticizing that.
Right. Okay. So the result. So you asked for an extension until the 29th. And the result that you got was that you have to make your filings by August 30th, and that the hearing date will now be on September 6th.
Correct.
That's right. Okay. And then also, as part of that, though, there's not going to be any, there won't be any hearings on the motions to strike prior to the 30th or prior to the 6th. Is that correct, or?
Yeah. I believe we implicitly agreed to that. I certainly am fine with that. And there'll be a Rule 11 agreement filed probably tomorrow. I've circulated a draft to council, so we'll I I actually like hearings, so if people want to go have hearings in the interim, I'll meet you at the big stone building anytime. But I think probably opposing counsel isn't gonna push back on that. But I sort of felt like that was implicit, and so at least until I say otherwise, that's my opinion. There'll be no more hearings set until set that are applicable to the TCPA actions. There may be other stuff that comes up. Who knows? I don't have anything in particular in my mind.
Okay, I'm curious. There's an outstanding motion.
Motion to compel.
Well, there's that, and then Lemoyne has an outstanding motion as well.
Yeah.
And a motion for permission to conduct additional discovery.
Right.
And they haven't set that for hearing or anything yet.
No, and I don't know why.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm aware of that motion or why I'm interested in what would happen from that one.
Yeah.
But
Again, I don't think I'm stating anything that's not obvious. We've already given counsel notice that we will vigorously oppose that motion.
Right.
It's our opinion that the discovery stay affects everybody, and that that motion does not in any way make the case that the discovery they want to conduct has anything to do with their motion to dismiss.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they'd amend it now that they filed theirs, but I mean, this is all speculative.
Yeah, no, we have a motion to compel on discovery that we haven't set for a hearing,
right?
Because we've got more important things to worry about right now. So,
right.
And that may be their calculation. They live in a world of limited resources, just like we do, and they may have decided that it does happen sometimes. You'll get all fired up on something, and boy, you'll file it, and then you go, you know what? I don't know if this is the most important thing I need to be working on right now.
Right. Okay. So the end result, as stated, September 6th is a hearing. Probably not going to be any TCPA related hearings, at least in regards to the filed motions and the one filed motion to strike and the presumably pending motions to strike that will be filed. I'm pretty certain that I can say with a high level of confidence we're going to have 2 more motions to strike, one for each of the other defendants. Right.
And we'll be amending our motion to strike that's already been filed, because obviously they're attempting to supplement their filings after the deadline, and we believe that's improper. But again, that's something the court will sort out.
Right. And so then, but there is a possibility. I mean, in theory, they could set a motion hearing on their outstanding motion, and in theory, you guys could set a motion hearing on the discovery stuff. But it
probably would just out of spirit. Nah, I'm kidding.
It's a joke. That's a joke. Oh my goodness.
Sure.
Well, either way. So as far as the TCPA stuff, that's going to be September 6th, and the judge Chupp will have 30 days from that hearing to issue his ruling under the TCPA rules, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, we offered this up. We weren't even asked, but I felt like it was a reasonable thing to do. One of the little quirks in this whole thing is that you have 60 days from the time you've been served with the case. You have 60 days to file your anti-SLAPP motion. Well, it just so happened that Funimation's 60 days for there to be a hearing. Just so happened that Funimation's 60th day was like the day after our hearing. Which, I mean, when we do that, I mean, we were trying to come in, because we didn't want, I mean, obviously you have a much better chance of winning a hearing like that if you can say honestly that you're not working an injustice on anybody. But just to make certain, I voluntarily said, look, we'll extend that hearing deadline for Funimation for the 3 extra weeks that we've asked for. And I put that in the Rule 11 agreement that I circulated.
Right.
My read of this court, I don't think we're going to have to wait long.
Right.
I think he seems to be really on top of his docket, and I think he'll rule one way or the other pretty quickly.
Now, before we move on from talking about the hearing, was there anything else at the hearing that is important to note I mean, one thing you told me about was that Judge Chupleby has requested a checklist, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And did you have any thoughts about like the idea of a checklist or anything like that?
Yeah, what he's getting at is if you look at our motion to strike, you'll see that we say, we're asking the court to strike this entire affidavit, and here are the specific things inside the affidavit that are wrong with it. Well, the court can, if it wants to, it can strike the whole thing, or they can just strike out the parts that we're identifying. And that's what makes this such a time-consuming task, right? Is that you've got to,
Right.
for us anyway.
You can't just say, well, we want to strike the whole affidavit, because you don't want to win or lose proposition on the judge saying, well, I mean, half of this affidavit's hearsay, the other half is admissible. So no, I can't strike the whole thing. You have to.
Really don't want to. Well, here's the thing, Nick. You as a general rule, you want to avoid asking the judge to do any work. Okay.
Right.
The judge can certainly look at that affidavit and go, "No, counsel, I'm only going to strike this line, that line, the other." But he could also just go, "I'm not going to, deny it."
Right.
So part of some of that is just tactical. So what the judge is saying is, what he said was, again, I think a very conscientious judge. He said, give me a strike list, basically, and that way I can easily lay out the things. And so he'll likely do most of that before we have the hearing, and I'm fine with that.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was preserving the ability to have oral argument on any of the.
Oh, absolutely. He is exactly. Yeah, he made it crystal clear that we could still have oral argument on anything, which I want the option to do that.
Right. Yeah, because you don't want to proceed just on papers and then have to go in, kind of hamstrung with whatever he's decided.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going to wind up with sort of the best of both worlds. He'll do an initial run through and say, "This is what I'm inclined to do." And if any of you people want to argue about it, you can, and then we'll make whatever decision at that time. So it's a very workable solution, not a problem at all. And we have to file on the 30th, like you said, which I was fine with that, because had the hearing gone off the way we asked, we as a practical matter would have had to have filed by the 22nd or so. Because you got to give the judge at least a week to read your stuff, especially the kind of detailed stuff that we'll be filing.
Right.
So, obviously we're very happy with the result. And honestly, I don't think it worked any hardship at all on the other side. I mean, no one lost the case in this hearing. No one won the case in this hearing today.
Well, I lost the case in this hearing.
Well, yeah, but
please don't besmirch my reputation for losing the case.
Yeah, obviously that has to be an unspoken caveat. You've always lost the case, but you've sent me a few things, and I find it humorous. Deciding that a hearing like this is somehow going to blow the case apart or win it is very much like deciding that a single possession in a game of football is going to win the whole game.
Right.
I really do analogize hearings to scoring drives. I think one side or the other has scored points in these hearings. I think we have, but the other side probably has their theory. But we're still in the first quarter. We're not even close to the end of the game.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on. There's a bunch of questions that have lined up here, so let's do those questions before we move on to the mean tweet segment. And I'm gonna do two of them out of order because I know one guy has to leave here. Phoenix Aurum says, "Hey Nick, glad you made it home safe." Oh, thank you. For Mr. Beard, with respect to what happened to Tug, do you think you'd be taking up his case considering the orca smashed his post box? It's a federal offense to do so. And then he says, continued, Nick, do your best Matthew McConaughey impression. Can you say, all right, all right, all right?
Yeah, I've consulted with Tug on this. Don't want to get into details, obviously. Yeah, it actually is. It's a federal offense to destroy a mailbox.
Right.
I had always heard that, and a few years back, for whatever reason, I looked into it, and I'll be darned. That's the kind of thing where, and I'm not saying that in my misspent youth I ever took a baseball bat and drove by and hit a mailbox out on some rural road somewhere. I'm not saying I did that at all. But the thing is, if you do get caught, you stand a good chance of going to the penitentiary. I mean, it's like jacking with the
there was
FCC.
that.
You probably can do a radio jammer in your office building and nobody will ever know. But boy, if they do catch you.
Well, it was like there was a movie. I can't remember what it was. It was a true story, and it was a guy who robbed like a grocery store. But the the grocery store sold stamps, so it was considered under the law.
That was Shawshank Redemption. That was Morgan Freeman's character in Shawshank. Remember?
Is that what it was?
That's what it was. Yeah, he robbed a convenience store, and there was a post office in the back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay. No, but I remember there's also a true story of that as well.
No, that's happened a number of times. That's not. That's happened a number of times.
Yeah. So these guys who would be put in for like 12 months end up getting 20 years.
Yeah, and in the federal system, at least this is the case now. Here in Texas, if you go to county lockup, you get if you don't act like an idiot, you're going to get 2 or 3 days credit for every day you serve.
Right.
In the federal system, it's something like 20%. I mean, it's not you don't get a lot of time off for good behavior. You're going to serve a good chunk of your sentence. So yeah, that's unfortunate.
Okay. So Extrovert ED says, "Hey Nick, 20 for the whiskey fund." Ooh, thank you.
Hey.
Ty, whose military last stand best resembled Vic's deposition? Audie Murphy on the broken tank or Ernest E. Evans in the battle off Samar?
Audie Murphy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Audie Murphy on the broken tank. Is that the guy who's like World War II?
Oh my God. What have I done to make you treat me this way, Nick? You don't know who Audie Murphy is?
No. Tell me about Audie Murphy real quick while I get some more liquor.
Oh, wow. He is the most decorated hero I think in American military history, but certainly in World War II. He was too small. He tried to join the Marines.
Yeah, this is exactly who I'm talking about. Why are you belittling me?
Okay, all right, fair enough. It was just a horrifying thought that you might not know. In Collin County, Texas, the courthouse is the Audie Murphy Courthouse.
He had they did a movie about him back in like the 50s.
Starring Audie Murphy.
Right.
When he got back, he had a very boyish face. And when he got back after the war, of course, he went to Hollywood. He's a decorated war hero. And so he starred in his own movie about himself. It's a pretty good movie.
They had to tone it down from the real story because people wouldn't believe the real story if they saw it on the screen.
Oh, yeah, no question. He's kind of like Alvin York in World War I. You read his actual exploits, it's like, holy crap, this didn't actually happen, did it? But yeah, just a truly remarkable man, and a tragic ending to his life. He wound up with a gambling problem and some other stuff, and died, I believe, in the early 70s. But yeah, just an amazing man.
I'm getting roasted in the chat. I actually knew who it was.
Okay, Chad. I was unfair to Nick here. That's on me. I overreacted. Because I might be a little bit sensitive to that.
The funny thing for me is the reason I know is probably embarrassing. But Cracked.com used to be funny before they went full social justice. Right.
And a long time ago. But yeah, I'd agree with that.
They actually had a great article on Audie Murphy and other war heroes. Like there was a Scottish soldier serving on the British who had a claymore. Like he literally went into battle with a claymore, and he had like a bagpipe guy with him. Mm-hmm. And he like was taking prisoners with running in there with a sword.
There was some British guy, I want to say at Dunkirk, with a longbow. Killed a German soldier with a longbow. It's like the last combat death from a longbow. And of course, God. I think we talked last time I was on your stream. I've made it a personal mission in life to get it confirmed in American law that bagpipes are still a weapon of war.
Mad Jack Churchill is the name. Thank you, Chad.
That's it. Yes. What a great name, Mad Jack Churchill. I mean, good grief.
Yeah. Okay. So A grown-up Trunk says, I need your help. My father was falsely accused by a family member who had a grudge. I just want his story to be heard because she committed fraud and violated our privacy to get him charged. I just want to be heard at 8shinobi. Well, email me. I don't know when I can fit that story in, but let me know. If you've already emailed me, email me again. The Pie Baker says, Mr. Beard, a challenge. If you pass, you get your first legal win. Fail, and each of your daughters will wed Duchette, Lemwine, and Failrick.
I don't like to joke about that. Dude.
15 seconds on the clock. What are the opposite of the following? Are you ready for the... So you have to give the opposite word of the following words.
Hold on. All right.
Always.
Never.
Coming.
Going.
From.
To.
Take.
Give.
Me.
You.
Down.
Up. You know that said something, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
I was focusing on the contest. What did I just say?
You just got rickrolled, sir. Never gonna give you up.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. My daughters have rickrolled me over the years any number of times. It became almost a how many times can we rick? Because before rickrolling was a thing, I actually introduced them to the great Rick Astley. Who in their right mind would ever thought a skinny white boy could sing like that? First time I ever heard him on the radio, I was like, man, that must be like Barry White's son or something. Some big, guy looks like Pee Wee Herman, sort of with better hair,
Marginally better hair.
So I just got rickrolled. That's great. That's great.
Okay. Didacta says, 2 questions for Ty. Did you see the Monica spanking clip? And the other of Ron filming up Monica's dress. It's called Monica Q&A Florida 2016.
Did see the first one. Don't ever want to see the second one.
The second, in your slowest, most evil voice, can you say, we will be in touch?
We will be in touch.
Ooh, that was good. Talonseer says, people with hearing loss often suffer from tinnitus, an annoying monotonous buzzing that sounds like it's coming from the base of your skull. Do you know what that sounds like? Tune into hashtag Fuscamal with T. Greg Doucette. Oh, well, that was nice of you to promote Greg's podcast. Very, very.
Yeah, let's start.
Titanium Bank says, is a quesadilla just a Mexican grilled cheese? This person needs the legal definition.
I think there's an argument to be made for that. Yeah.
I think so. When are the Catholics going to put cheese between 2 communion wafers? When are we going to have like grilled unleavened bread cheese?
Yeah. Grilled communion wafers. Yeah. I had a friend in high school, a good friend. His mom was Hispanic, and they ate tortillas just like we would eat just bread. And I really developed a strong taste and affinity for them.
Oh man, fresh tortillas. Have you been to Papacitos, man?
Oh yeah, in Tyler. Oh heck yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, Papacitos in Tyler? That's not a Papacitos though. That's a different Papacitos.
The one on 5th Street?
That's not a Papa's chain, is it?
Papacitos.
That's Papacitos. Yeah, that one doesn't count. I'm talking about Papacitos.
That one's awesome. That one's awesome Mexican food too, or Tex-Mex, or whatever you want to call it.
I've never been there.
Next time you're in town, we'll go. It's good food.
I went to Villa Montez, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Well, no, it's fine. No, I actually really like Tex-Mex.
Oh yeah. And Villa Montez is not Tex-Mex.
It's Mexican cuisine.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of that. Not for any particular reason other than I'm just I like what I like. So yeah, that's what that was getting at. It's actually I would assume very good Mexican cuisine, but I'm a big fan of Tex-Mex.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Blaine20 says, so Google YouTube blocked Google Hangouts, hashtag Spurgius infighting. Yeah, very, very annoying. I'm really frustrated. Fatal System Error says, nice seeing you, Ty. I want that shirt. Also, Nick, just want to thank you for helping me with my question yesterday. Appreciate it. And I have something in mind for you as well. Sit tight. Oh,
Uh-oh.
ominous.
Yeah.
Wes Nile Chan says, Beardson, come on, can you tell my sweet Limois coon that I miss the sound of his steady breathing? You don't have to respond to this. It's not like I want to infect him or anything, Baka. That's a lot of anime jokes.
None of which I get.
Good.
Okay, good.
Disavow and deny everything that was just said by Wes Nile Chan.
Works for me.
The RQ says, I'm drinking Whiskey 43, the Richard Petty whiskey. It's fun to drink along.
There's a Richard Petty whiskey.
I've never had it.
I did not know that. I will have to add that to the John Wayne whiskey. Actually, the Duke was pretty good, wasn't it, Nick?
Yeah, Duke whiskey's great.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, did you see? This is what I started. I switched to drinking this.
I thought that was last I heard that was akin to battery acid, though.
It's pretty similar. It's pretty similar. You just have to not pay attention to it.
We bought it for the container.
Right.
We didn't have any reason to think it was great.
You just have to not pay attention to it while you're actually drinking it. Ryan Mercado says, Nick and Ty, I guess at Half-Cocked Law is an alleged lawyer because he's refusing to show his credentials. That proves he's one, and Nomar Tion is nothing more than a turpentine abusing. He is so obsessed with turpentine. Yeah, that guy's weird. And at Half-Cocked Law sure talks a lot about what other people know about law. I've seen him get a lot wrong. He's one of these weird orbiters on law Twitter.
Okay. Most of what I know about law Twitter, I know from you. So,
well,
word for it.
You're getting the most accurate lens of law Twitter.
I would expect I am.
I have never been more accurate in my life than when I talk about what law Twitter is with people. I apologize to my Discord today for the existence of law Twitter.
I have a public service message at some point in this. This isn't necessarily the time, but I want to offer a public service message to law Twitter about you.
Oh, okay.
I'm a giver. But just later on, let's be sure we circle back on that.
I think during the tweet section, we'll get it just fine.
Okay.
Intimidator0108 says, good evening, Nick and Ty. How's it going? Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
And by the way, Nick, I can DM you a link to the race where the Lamborghini Lawsplainer Rekieta's edition. I'm trying to race it now. First win, and you can check it out later at your leisure. Now to decide on the next design. Yeah, do it. Oh, hey, Ty, what's your favorite car of all time? Your dream car. If you could go buy any car, what would it be?
Corvette.
What year?
Oh, now that's a good question.
Because I like the early 80s Corvette Stingrays with the big giant front wheel fenders.
Yeah. So it just so happens I was in high school. So there was no 1983 Corvette, as I recall, because Chevrolet restyled the thing from the ground up, and it became the Corvette that even today it draws its lineage. You're talking about, though, the Corvette from about 1979, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82. Those were cool looking cars. They weren't. We went through a time period in the late 70s where the government imposed very serious gasoline mileage restrictions on Detroit.
Right. And
so therefore, the cars rolling off the assembly lines were not high performance cars really at all.
And back then, there was no highway speed in America above 55.
Right. Yeah, and so that was the heyday of the guys jacking up their muscle cars, because in those days you could jack up a car and beat sports cars right off the showroom floor.
Right.
That all ended actually in 1984 with the Mustang GT. I was a car guy, but way back when. I had a friend that had the baddest Trans Am in Tyler, Texas. I mean, it was
that's a low bar, though.
Yeah, no. This guy had nitrous. Okay, I mean, that's how serious he was. But a brand new Mustang GT, right off with the dealer tag still on it. He pulled up beside the guy at the light, and they and the GT stayed with him through every gear, and he had to hit his nitrous to get past him. And he's like, he's like, oh my God. Somebody now can just go buy a performance car. But in the late 70s and early 80s, you couldn't do that. So while that is a cool, beautiful Corvette, it's not very high performance.
Yeah, but there's enough room in that hood for a V12 if you wanted.
Yeah. And it's a light chassis. The Vet was fiberglass, so it was a light chassis. And I liked the 84 Vets better in 84. But now that I'm older, I really like the big swoopy because but I think I like just about every year model of the Corvette though. I went to law school because of a Corvette. No, seriously, I desperately wanted a Corvette, and my stepfather, who was a good solid influence in my life, said, "Kid, you ain't ever going to be able to afford a Corvette on a teacher's salary."
Right.
That's probably true. He said, maybe you ought to go to law school. I work around a lot of lawyers, and you're just as obnoxious and overbearing as they are. So.
I shouldn't have gone to law school. I should have gone into plastic surgery. Those guys, they're the smart ones.
Oh, yeah. Any number of reasons I don't want to get into.
No, just it's like a $20,000 a day job.
Yeah.
It's great.
And no one's life is really depending on anything you do.
Right. I drove past a plastic surgery center the other day when I was in the Twin Cities, and it was like two Ferraris right in the parking lot. I was like, those are that's the surgeon and the anesthesiologist. Okay, got it.
I had a client in Dallas. He was a doctor, and I don't remember what his specialty was, but he was in this big medical center in North Dallas, and there were like, I don't know, 17 or 18 plastic surgeons in that place. And of course, this is Dallas, Texas. And you'd go up there, and I mean, it was like you were in the model central place. I mean, there were just, stunning women everywhere, because they were coming in to, get all that. And I remember reflecting too, I was like, yeah, I should have gone to med school. Not because of the women, but yeah. One of my favorite shows is Scrubs, and there's a beautiful scene where this dermatologist finally has to get called in on a consult, and he's running and going, stat, and they're all making fun of him,
Yeah. Fat Keck Boy says, "This is my first super chat here, Nick. Hey, thanks, buddy. I got a question. I don't know if you've already covered it, but any thoughts on the Chris Fehn versus Slipknot lawsuit that's going on? Who do you think will win?" No, I don't have any thoughts because I haven't read it yet. Ty, have you ever listened to Slipknot?
No.
Oh, we're gonna change. We're going to change that for you.
No, I stopped listening to new music in 1989. I have all the music I want.
No, you'll like Slipknot.
I might very well like. I don't disagree with that, Nick, but I'm just telling you, I've got all the music I want.
What if you had 3 drummers in the same band playing at the same time, coordinated?
Oh, okay, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're cool, and one of them's got a keg. That's his drum, is a keg.
Oh, okay.
Along with some other various things, but
there's a Golden Earring video of Radar Love where they have like 500 drummers out there doing the drum section.
Yeah, but they're all doing the same drum section.
Oh, these guys are all different.
The 3 drummers their play is coordinated, but they're different parts.
All right, I will therefore on a temporary basis, I will agree to listen to some new music.
I'll send you. Well, I don't know about their new stuff, but I'll send you some of the stuff I listened to when I was in.
If it's post 1989, it's new.
Right. I'll send you some 2000s era Slipknot.
Okay.
Mr. Deadman says, "Got a hard question for y'all. What's the one good thing you can say about Lemoyne? He's diligent."
Anybody that gets through law school and passes the bar has accomplished something. It's not easy, and the guy. I'm certain that opposing counsel, they're doing the best they can.
There you go.
We'll get into this when we talk about the.
I thought you'd go with like he's tenacious. He's got a stick-to-itiveness, a can-do attitude.
No. I don't think he has any more of one than anybody else on the other side.
I just like platitudes. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not my job to criticize or praise my opponents. If I offer up praise for someone, it's because they've impressed me in some way. I think I've I've shared with you that I kind of like Funimation's counsel. I think he's a pretty good guy. James Attorney seems like a good guy, you know.
Sutairu Masato. I won't say what he said, but yeah, I'm with you, buddy. Or Masuta. Sutairu Masuta. Yep, you got it. Absolutely. That's the joke that I won't say while Ty's on the stream. Billy the Kid Lauren says, Ty, I recently bought Lee Beard's book and I'm loving it so far. We'll give them a full review when I'm done. We be friends on Twitter. Everyone purchase Radio Nowhere for a great read and support it to the fullest.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful book, and I'm not. It's not just because Brianna's my daughter. I really think it's a very well written book.
Yeah,
and it's so refreshing to not have any agenda, right? She writes just a good story, and no lecturing, no preaching, no nothing, and I like that.
Yeah, and you guys can check that out on Amazon. Radio Nowhere is the book by Lee Beard. Go check it out. It's on Kindle. It's like $1 or whatever, $2 or something, and then the paperback's like $9. Go grab it. It's great. It's great.
I don't know if I said this before. Did I tell you the story about her selling the books at the John Wayne party a couple of years back? Brianna did.
Oh yeah.
Well, the clients knew she was writing a book. And so one of them asked her, how's your book doing? And she said, well, I finally got it published. She's like, well, do you have any? And she said, actually, I have a carton of them in my truck. He goes, bring them in. We'll buy them. And so she brings in a box of the books, and a bunch of the clients bought the books.
And she's like, they're $65 a piece. That's what.
No, sadly, she's like her father. She wasn't smart enough to go, yes, I have a captive audience. I will drive home the profit.
Okay, Cabria Cousin says, love the shirt, Ty. Also, what's your favorite period of American history to research and discuss?
Well, it's funny. I'm looking at a small subset of my library that away. Y'all can't see it, obviously. It'd have to be World War II. I like all areas of American history, but yeah, World War II is a particular interest of mine.
There you go.
What's not to like? It's the last great epic good war.
Hey, you want to borrow this? 1 second. This isn't World War II. This is World War I. But do you recognize this signature? Can you see it?
Oh my God, John J. Pershing. General.
My experiences in the World War.
In the World War.
When there was only one.
Right, yeah.
So I picked this up for like $2 from a guy who bought a bunch of books, and it's just Pershing's notes and talking about the war, and it was written. When was this published?
Have to be before World War II, obviously.
This was this is volume 2 though. I don't have volume 1, unfortunately.
Pershing is an interesting guy because World War I didn't really give you much scope if you were a general to show great generalship because it was trench warfare and there wasn't any maneuver.
Right.
But I've always kind of judged Pershing by the tremendous regard that some very good generals had for him. Patton idolized him. MacArthur idolized him. I mean, all of the men who were world-class generals in World War II had idolized this guy. So I've always thought it was kind of interesting if he had an opportunity to fight in a maneuver war like World War II, I'm sure he would have been awesome at it.
Yeah. So this is a first edition apparently.
Wow.
And it was printed in it was printed in 1931.
Okay. I haven't read that. I need to add that to the list.
I'll bring it to you. You can borrow it. But it's got like a library stamp on it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Some library remaindered it.
But here, so if anybody wants to know what Pershing looked like, here's his wartime sketch. There you go. Because they did sketches back then.
Yeah, I like the old style books with a little wax paper leaf, to protect the image.
Okay, sorry. Well, let's move on. I love old books. I really do.
I do too.
Nova Zero says, Nick and Ty, consult Sean and Chris on how this sock puppet nonsense works, please. It's painful how you guys can't sort this out. The amount of times you've lost this case, gosh, think of the victims. I don't know who Sean and Chris are.
Humanity.
Okay, AP Atheist 666 says, for Ty, is that the largest motion you've had to respond to in one go?
I assume you must be talking about
Lemoynes.
Yeah. Not in terms of the motion itself, but certainly the big. No, that's not true. Actually, it's not. One of my clients, we got hit in a class action, a super funder. We sent a barrel literally of acetic acid to be disposed of 10 years earlier, and that disposal place became a super fund cleanup site, and they sued literally every company under CERCLA, and those pleadings were probably, I don't know, about 4 inches thick. By the way, just a little side rant here. The definition of hazardous substance under CERCLA is anything that is deadly without regard to the amount that you ingest. Acetic acid is vinegar, by the way. Even water would theoretically qualify as a hazardous substance under that definition. And of course, specifically exempted are oil and gasoline and other petroleum products. So anyway, that was probably pretty good size. Of course, I don't, but this one would certainly have to be in the top, 5, I would think.
Sure. That's good. I love it. You should have non-ionized water. That would be fine. Perfect.
Yeah, so you drink any amount of that and it wouldn't be hazardous.
Let's see. I like the Spikeman says, just smashed a con grill, took her back to my hotel room, drank Glenlivet and Jura while she smashed Fireball. As I made her erupt, she muttered, I stand with Vic Kuhn. Oh, come on. Helpier Doomsnake says, good evening, boys. So is there a hearing on 8th of August still? No.
That's off.
So there's no the follow-up question was, and if so, what's that one about? Well, there was no follow-up. Super Saiyan Serg says, hey, Ty, would you be able to get Vic's rolls back like Broly? That's not in that. Yeah, I'll answer that one. Probably not in court. Settlement has all sorts of possibilities. That's not a remedy that the court can impose. That's a remedy that you would pursue in something like settlement.
I'm not aware of any legal right that my client has to play that role. So,
right.
But when you settle a lawsuit, they're all, anything's on the table.
Anything legal. Any legally enforceable right is on the table. The Texan 83 says Audie Murphy is the guy Sabaton wrote the song To Hell and Back about. I think that was also the title of the movie.
Yeah, it was his biography too.
Right. B and Josh says, hey, Ty, Sabaton has a song about Audie Murphy. It's called To Hell and Back. They really want you to listen to Sabaton.
And I need to do that because that was the last time I was on, and I was supposed to do that. Brianna, would you make sure that I listen to Sabaton tomorrow? The office that I've got, we haven't had a problem since I handled it, but there's an office adjacent to mine in our office building, and the walls are regrettably a little bit thin, and they got a little bit loud one time. So I had to play Jimi Hendrix until they stopped. But that would be good to fire that off tomorrow. Let them hear that too. So,
I'll send you a subwoofer that you just put on the wall. Just tape it to the wall.
Yeah.
Cabria Cousin says, Ty, regarding your surprise at discovering Rick Astley being white, how shocked were you at finding out that Snow was white and Canadian? Because I totally thought that guy was Jamaican until I saw the video. Why do you bring Snow? Best titled album ever, 12 Inches of Snow. With the legendary song Informer. Oh, God. Matthew Nedig says, Nick, stop ragging on Ty for the Jack. I keep the Ardbeg for special occasions and do Jack for everyday sips and nightcaps. Also, are we seeing Ty at Bubba Fest? I want to get you boomers around.
I am intending to go to Bubba Fest, but of course I have another large case that just heated up, which may wipe out all my remaining free time. But I'm going to definitely try. It sounds like I really would like to go. I mean, my God, it's got Chuck Norris and Marianne from Gilligan's Island.
No more Pam Anderson though. She backed out like a horrible person. She backed out for a Canadian convention. What kind of American backs out of
Canadian though, isn't she?
Get out.
Not that that's an excuse.
Northern Wall now and catapult her over it. I don't want it.
Well, we can't just make them apologize and let her come back? I mean, they're so polite.
Apparently she won't. I got to talk to that guy. I keep meaning, I got to get, I think he's going to come on the show one more time before Bubba Fest.
All that said, though, here's the thing. If you're a Pamela Anderson fan, likely you're a fan from her glory days on Baywatch. While I'm sure she's still a stunning-looking woman, she probably doesn't look that way anymore. So
she'll look less that way when I launch her over the north wall.
Well, spare the rod, spoil the child, I always say, Nick.
Austin Hartless says, Nick, how dare you suggest putting a V12 in a Corvette? Chevy big block V8 all the way, drop in a 454 and watch the tires blow off that female dog.
In this day and age, the amount of horsepower and stuff that modern engines produce is staggering. You can buy station wagons that could outperform my IROC Z28 of the mid-'80s.
I remember reading books on sports cars when I was a kid and seeing 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds.
That would have been when I was in high school and early college. That would have been top performance.
And now that's like a Ford Taurus off the line.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it is CNC machining. I think they're able to machine with mass produce such incredible tolerances. But no, the performance of cars today is astonishing.
Okay, the Dark Knight has 3 questions for you, Ty.
Okay.
If a woman accuses a man of sexual harassment and the state allows one or non-party consent recording, does that defend me in court? Yeah. Well, the short answer is yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I'm understanding the question is, if I record this person and the state is a one-party state, which means only one person needs to know that the recording is happening, will that defend me? It should. I mean,
depending on the content of the recording.
Yeah, but presuming that the recording shows clear consent, yeah.
2 is, what is the future of the Me Too mob?
I'm an incurable optimist. I think at some point we're going to come out of this national mental breakdown that we've indulged for the last decade or so. You can't run a civilized society by Twitter accusations destroying people's lives. Because we've said this before, Nick. You people out there who are gratuitously wrecking people's lives, some of you are going to wind up with a bullet between your eyes, because you're going to do it to the wrong person who will decide they have nothing to lose and they will cap you. That's not a threat in any way. That's my prediction of where this ends up. You can't destroy people's lives without consequences, you fucking morons.
Right. And then 3, do you represent people outside of Texas?
Not generally, no. In tax matters, I do, because that's a federal thing. I've been consultants on cases, but it depends. Habercorn, I've talked, Todd, obviously, but even there, I would have local counsel. So,
right.
Depends, I guess.
Mama Bear says, Ty, tell Vic thank you for actually using his anime cup that we made him. That was the cup he had at deposition was made by Mama Bear.
And you know what? That was a conscious shout out. That's the kind of guy he is. I mean, here he is coming here. A deposition is one of the most traumatic things a person can do. And although he was prepped, and yet he had enough He had enough great consideration that he actually thought of that. I don't know about you, Nick. I wouldn't have been thinking about about being nice to someone. I'd have been worried about how I was going to do that day. But that's who he is.
Well, if I ever get deposed, I'll tell you what I'm thinking about.
If you ever get deposed, my guess is they will have to earn it.
This one just came in, and I've got to skip a bunch just to read this one. It says, Ty, this is from Facetious Sage, says, Ty, can your Muduk Kwan arts defeat Cuck Snack Tray? Come on, man.
That's pretty good.
And the follow-up to Mama Bear was, tell Vic thanks unless you think he would feel bad to know that we've all seen his depot. I think Vic knows.
He knows.
I like the Spike Man says, sadly, our town is demolishing our John J. Pershing building. It has been big here, but we have new auditoriums named after banks. Sad. God bless our ancestors, heroes, and champions.
At least they're not named after politicians.
Oh, God. Nothing worse.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cocoon.
I actually was advocating a federal law prohibiting the naming of any federal structure after a politician, because I'm convinced that half the federal buildings around here wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Cocoon 513 says, going to see Slipknot in Pennsylvania the 24th. I've been to 3 Slipknot shows, all of them great. Showtie, All Out Life, or Soulway Firth. Neither of those songs existed when I saw Slipknot. Those 2 singles off their new album releasing in August feels very much like their Iowa album, Take It Easy. I'll have to check them out. 4,000 Foot Siberian Llama says, thank you both for all the entertainment. Keep putting Kick Vic in their place. Is there any way you're going to make merch available with Malice Bitch? Yeah, I need to. I'm gonna. I have been swamped, guys, but I'm gonna make
We've done a terrible job monetizing the snark, Nick.
I'm gonna make a line of shirts that is just block letters with stuff like "How embarrassing," "Malice Bitch," "Eat a jelly bean," all of those things.
I guess I'm sure my daughters can sell these shirts.
They should. They absolutely should.
Okay, I'll get them hooked up. Y'all can talk that out and figure out the logistics. Maybe y'all can.
They should do it. They should earn money from their creative work. Enjoying Glenlivet Enigma and Basil Hayden Caribbean Reserve Rye currently. Cheers. Ooh, good job, buddy. Joshua Thomas says, first super chat ever. Hey, thanks. You guys should talk cars with Steve Leto of Leto's Law. He's a Michigan attorney. I've seen that guy. He's a Michigan attorney who specializes in lemon law. He also has some funny legal war stories.
Oh, I bet he does. I never thought of that. Yeah, a lemon law specialist. That would be a riot. And of course, I'm a Dune fan, so I like the last name.
Yeah, he's got a lot of. I've seen his YouTube channel. It's similar to mine in the format. Like it's his giant stupid face in the middle of a screen and talking legal stuff. It's great. Intimidator0108 says, DM'd you a link to the video, Nick. It should start off where I copied the link. Otherwise, I did mention when the race starts. I still haven't heard what year Corvette that Ty likes best after you read my last super chat. He said any of them.
Yeah, I'll always have an emotional attachment to the 84 Vet.
84. Just pick 84.
That was a brand new, complete from the ground up rebuild. I mean, everything was new. Had the Atari dashboard, as we called it, had the fully digital dash, which in 84 was a big deal.
Did you ever see the movie Bulletproof with Gary Busey? It's the greatest tank movie ever made. I can't believe you're looking at me like that.
No. I'm trying to remember if I've seen it. Not sober.
I think his first line in that movie, he's like in the rafters of a building of like a bunch of like a cartel or something, and they're shooting at him, and he says, they're like, "Who is that?" And he says, "Your worst nightmare, butthorn." And they're like, and then the guy goes, "McBain?" He said, "Yeah." And then he drops like 30 feet from the rafters, pulls out his pistol, and just stands there in the open as they're firing fully auto weapons at him. And he just like, boom, 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 boom. God, that movie's great.
Let me put a pitch in for movies like that real quick. There's a Chuck Norris film called Lone Wolf McQuade.
Hold on. Sorry, 1 second. Matthew Lemons, don't you dare ever suggest that Bulletproof was with Adam Sandler. That movie doesn't exist. Bulletproof with Gary Busey. Sorry.
be no blasphemy.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, there's a Chuck Norris movie called Lone Wolf McQuade. To anybody out there that's a Walker Texas Ranger fan, if you want to see essentially the proto Walker Texas Ranger, it's made like in '82. It's a Chuck Norris spaghetti western kind of film with David Carradine as the villain. And he does an outstanding job as just a complete jackhole. But there's a scene where, at the very beginning, where he's off on a hill, and he's got a rifle, and the bad guys have captured some cops and stuff, and they're being assholes and all this, and he shoots one of the villains, and so the boss villain points to his guy, and his guy has a little Uzi and goes, and all the bullets go around him and hit him, and you see him lean up, and you. I introduced we watched that with the girls a couple of weeks ago, and I think it may be the best of the Chuck Norris movies. But anyway,
I'm partial to Braddock Missing in Action 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's when Golden Globe was just offered Chuck Norris way too much money.
The number of neck breaks per capita in the Missing in Action movies is magnificent.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the number of face punches in the movie Roadhouse.
Yeah, Roadhouse, of course.
There's like literally something like 90 face punches in a 90-something minute movie. It's glorious. It's gotta miss the 80s. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, we're almost through the chats, guys, and then we'll get to the the whatchamacallit, the tweets. Mythos Irving says, question for Ty, are you a con slut?
No.
Have you? Never mind. I gotta stop. David Cook says, Ty, can you recommend any World War II memoirs / bios? I'm reading Patton's, and he was very interesting character.
Wars, I knew it. Patton, Wars, I knew it, definitely. Bios. A Soldier's Story, Omar Bradley. A little bit self-serving, but pretty good.
Sorry, I just drank some 15-year-old vodka from a plastic bottle. God, it's horrible.
Well,
horrid.
At least, sometimes. Really anything. Ladislaus Farrago's book on Patton is good. What's his name? Blumentritt? Crap. Anyway, several good Patton biographies, excuse me, that I like. So that'd be my recommendation.
And Nick, the boomer, stop losing the case. Can't stop, won't stop. Wes Nile Chan
stop case losing.
Wes Nile Chan says, anime references. Nick, my love for Lemois is as pure as the O2 in his oxygen tank. Come on, man. Lord Blackwind. We have a distinguished guest. You can't do that to me. Lord Blackwind says, hey, about to go camping with friends. Any beer or liquor recommendations? I don't have beer recommendations, but the liquor recommendation is all of it. No, camping liquor. If you're gonna be by a campfire, get Lafroig 10-year. It's not expensive, like $55, and it tastes like the campfire you're sitting next to.
Sorry, but Budweiser or Michelob. That's my beer recommendation.
Budweiser should be reserved for Edward 40 Hands, so you really regret it later.
Man, when I was a kid, it was very common for parents to give children sips of their beer. That would probably be child abuse by today's standards, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But my parents would give me sips of their beer, and it happened to be, if it wasn't Budweiser, it was something equally good like Schlitz or Pearl or Olympia or, anyway, just that's what I like. Wow, that really is a plastic bottle.
Yeah,
Yikes.
It's a little. I got this back when I think before Lady Rackets and I were married. We got a little sampler pack of Smirnoff. This is cranberry twist vodka. And it's been sitting on my whiskey bottle, offending it. So I'm going to just drink it.
Just going to take the hit. Yeah. One time, one of my clients, chief financial officer, a really good guy, former Vietnam helicopter gunship pilot. he had a really rough day though, so I don't get into the details of that. But anyway, and I called him. He was really down. So I had some of those little whiskey bottles from a recent trip or something, and I made a special bag for him, in case of emergency, break bag type thing. And so I put the whiskey bottles in there. I put a Cuban cigar in there. I put a thing of ramen noodles and an index card with the address of the French Foreign Legion office, and a couple other things like that. And I sent my assistant out there to the plant to deliver it to him by hand. And so anytime I see those little bottles, I think of that. He was moved by the gesture, I think.
Let's see. Intimidator0108 says, just wanted to make sure because I think the Fear the Beard ZR1 edition decal design is up next. Wink, wink, XD.
Nice.
Okay, next. Where are we? Bohica says, Ty, we are not a smart chat. We are not an attractive chat. We are not a rich chat since we have hentai to buy, lawsuits to fund, and a drunk YouTube lawyer to support. But we love your daughters and ask for their hands in marriage.
I don't think you want me as father-in-law. Just saying.
There you go. There's your answer. Michael Rule says, greetings from the Netherlands. Hey, buddy. Hey. Question for Ty Beard. How much Jack Daniels did you drink after Ron's deposition?
None. We actually prepped for Monica's the next day.
Yeah.
We went
way
back
too.
That's what you do. We were in Fort Worth. We stayed the night, all of us. So, I mean, it was just that you gripe a little bit about what you didn't like, and you talk about the various things that you got. We sat down and, made notes that, present sense notes and stuff. We met with our friend. I don't believe either one of us had a drink.
Well, of course not. Of course not.
I would have. There wasn't any principle. It's just that we had work to do.
I would have been drunk at the deposition. I would be like, you know who I am? You know who I am? Answer the question, yes, no, or maybe. Do you know who I am? Can I choose or? No! Siren Jag says, here's a hint for the lurkers in the chat. Even if you actually believe that Ty has no experience with this type of case, here we are watching Ty gaining experience with this type of case. He even calculates his own Thaco. Can you calculate Thaco?
Nice nerd reference. Nick, did you get that reference?
Oh, yeah. I played second edition.
Okay. Very good. Very good. I found some old typewritten notes of mine from college. And I didn't call it Thaco because we didn't have that concept. But I had that concept evolved in my notes. And it was like, wow, Thaco. Anyway, sorry.
CNN Slayer says, Ty, I have bought your daughter's book. I asked a while back if I can swing by the office to potentially have you or your daughter sign it. Would that still be okay?
Sure.
There you go. Normie,
just for any stalkers, we are probably the best armed law office in Texas. So there's literally a gun safe in every office. So we're pretty easy to talk to.
Normie Slayer says, keep up the good work. By the way, I think Vic might have a degree of Asperger's. He has all the traits: hyper empathy, high intelligence and creativity, strong sense of justice, avant-garde humor, is extremely honest and direct socially, oblivious to friend codes. So there you go.
No, I don't think so. I think he's just a very genuine, nice guy. I mean, he doesn't seem compulsive or obsessive about anything. He doesn't. I mean, he's an incredibly talented and very charming guy. And, for folks like that, life is often quite different for them than it is for the rest of us. But no, I don't see that. I just think he's a good guy.
Speak for yourself, Ty. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Facetious Sage. Oh wait, I read that one. Finally, there's two left, and then we're doing the tweets.
Yeah, that's right. We got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have something to tell me about Law Twitter. Name says, I'd ask Ty to tell Jade off to suck a big one, but we know the West Nile took away Lamois's lung capacity. So instead, you should ask that ambulance chaser, Jay Sean, if he got the license plate of the mosquito that shortened his lifespan. Guys, come
I'm
on.
streaming tonight, man.
Brutal. They're savage monsters. What is
I'm
this?
glad they're on our side, Nick.
I had a savage joke earlier. My kids say savage all the time because of YouTube that they watch. Blaine 20 says, Ty, we know you photoshopped the footage of Ron's depot to cover up from where you punched him square in the nose for telling you no. #busted. Okay, let's get to some mean tweets. Now, you wanted to say something about law Twitter. Did you want to do that while I start pulling these up?
Mean tweets. I think I'll be in the proper mindset. Plus, I need to refill. From tweets.
Okay, what is this? Oh my God, I just love this person like Jesus would. Okay.
Now, so your Discord picked these, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we're not even gonna get through 10% of these. I'm crying on the inside. I didn't know how many mean tweets there were about us.
Well, you did sort of loft that up there. I mean, you kind of had to expect them to knock it out of the park, didn't you?
I mean, they did a great job. They did a great job.
Thank you, Nick's Discord.
Okay, so I'm going to share these. Oh, the one thing I can't... Oh, I can do it this way.
Okay, I see something.
Okay, so this is a tweet from Alexis Filth. At Filth Alexis. Replying to Shane Holmberg. So you can see I'm blocked by Shane Holmberg. You can see that right there.
That's an accomplishment of sorts, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm going to stop. I got jokes that are not appropriate. Alexa Filth says, I mean, Vic even stated it. Quote, I trust him to do what he does. It's just... Oh, wait, you're supposed to read this. This one's about you.
Oh, I'm supposed to read this. Okay, this is Alexis Filth.
And you can either use the profanity or you can censor it. That's at your discretion.
Sure, I'll probably just use profanity. I mean, Vic even said it. I trust him to do what he does. It's just unfortunate for Vic that what Percy does is fuck up nonstop. You know, I gotta give that one a C-. That's moderately funny. I think your Discord is just getting warmed up.
Oh yeah. Well, these are not tweets made by. They're just finding stuff. That was just the first one that came in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Here's the next one.
Okay.
So this one's about you too.
Okay. Well, first of all, Cranky David, PhD, capital letters, invest. Okay. You misspelled jubilant barn burner, but keep trying. Try Percy and Vic doused in kerosene and Nick Cage's smoldering cigarette in the air next time. Okay. I give that one an 8 for effort.
I don't.
Well, it's colorful, but the lack of using capital letters is a bit off-putting.
Sure. Okay, the next one is from my favorite person here. You got this one.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. This is several tweets.
Oh, grief.
This is how embarrassing this moron is. Hold on.
Thank you.
It's not the one I want, actually, though. This is the one I want to start. Oh my goodness. But I've got to do it here. Hold on. I'm pulling it up. I'm correcting the record.
God, let's see what I saw. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, so this is a series of tweets here, and I'm pulling these up, but I'm going to switch back to your face for the audience.
Yeah.
All right, so here you go. Well, no, I'll keep it on for at least the first couple because it's like 6 tweets. Because this brilliant man cannot tweet less than 38 times an hour.
Yeah. Okay. So start with the top one.
Yeah, start with the top one there.
Enough about Tuggy. Let's marinate on Percy. No, please don't. Why weren't there any emails between counsel attached to his motion to continue, like there were on his motion to compel discovery?
You can respond to these between the tweets if you want.
Sure, because there was no point. There wasn't any particular reason to put any emails.
Right, you didn't do that until Jay Sean included one side of the conversation.
And not a criticism of any particular lawyer, but look, guys, come on. If you leave stuff out, of course, I'm going to cram it down your throat in the next filing I make, and I would expect no less out of you. Well, and that's exactly what that was doing. So, Mr. Duchette, if you think you've scored some epic victory by asking that question, I think you've missed the point of the exercise. But let's get back to that marinating thing. That I feel harassed a little bit.
I think so. What? I've lost the lips. The lips are gone. Anyway, sorry, that's a side issue.
Okay. Percy asserts in his motion that he begged the big bad defense lawyers for more time, but they told him he couldn't sit with them. Surely this was done by email, not by phone call, right? It was done by email. The local rules require you to confer with counsel before filing a motion, dumbass. So, of course, you would recite in the motion that you've attempted to communicate with them. I didn't beg anybody. All I need, I don't beg, right? And I'm not going to squabble with somebody over shit like that. I said, we need extra time. Are you willing to give it to us? They said no. I said fine. We filed a motion.
Yeah, we read the emails that were filed with the amended motion.
There was a bunch of stupid shit in those emails, but nothing that Greg, you're gonna have to do a little bit better, buddy. I think. Okay,
hold on. Every sip of this cranberry vodka is god awful. Ugh. All right.
Nick, I admire the fact that you're a giver and you're taking one for the team like that. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. I think Lady Racket stole the lips. Where did they go? They're
okay. What is this lips thing?
Nope. They were just hiding. I don't know why they were here. These are the lips.
Now, I can't see because all I can see is the thing.
Here, I'll pull it up. For you.
Actually, it's not true. I've got my iPad. I can.
No, I got you. They're right here. These are the lips. These are.
That's impressive.
So you got these lips. This is for a very special man called Russell Greer who sued Taylor Swift for $100 million.
Okay.
One day I'll introduce you to Mr. Greer.
Oh, that's hysterical. Okay. Tell Lady Rackets that is well played.
She didn't steal them. They're somehow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I misunderstood. I thought she had bought them for you or something.
No, these were given to me by Sriracha, who was my co-host when we went through Russell Greer's book on stream. We read it on stream and talked about it because he has very interesting legal theories in it. And the lips had somehow migrated down to 3 shelves. I don't know. Sorry, let's.
Okay, I have to ask. What was the? I mean, why were the lips suddenly relevant?
Russell Greer has a here.
Oh, his bizarre legal theories.
Well, that's not why the lips were relevant. Not Russell Westbrook. Good Lord. The only important Russell on the planet.
Westbrook from Greer.
Don't worry. Hold on. I'm pulling up Russell Greer. So he has a condition, and I'm going to show you his... Steal yourself. Steal yourself, everybody.
Okay.
That's Russell Greer. He's got... I can't remember what it's called, but he's got a condition where his lips cannot close.
Oh, he's like Beto O'Rourke. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Exactly. He's exactly like Beto O'Rourke.
Shit, sorry.
Mobius syndrome. Thank you to Prawnmatic in the chat. He has Mobius syndrome, and his lips can't close. Now, at first, I had a little bit of hesitation making fun of Russell Greer. Oh, I didn't. I didn't. Here it is in the chat, y'all. There you go. At first, I had a little bit of hesitation making fun of Russell because of his Mobius syndrome, and then I read the words that he wrote, and I was like, oh no, this is a horrible human being. He's absolutely disgusting. So that's Russell Greer. Sorry.
Well, I agree with you. Much like you, I find it distasteful to make fun of people's physical limitations. But when they're awful people and would do the same thing to you, I think everything's fair game at that point.
Well, Russell Greer he sued the Bunny Ranch. Are you familiar with the Bunny Ranch?
Yeah, that's a Nevada.
It's a notorious brothel in Nevada,
Is that the
right?
one that the IRS wound up running for a while?
Probably. Yeah. There was a cat house.
I maintain that the government is the natural, party to run a brothel since there's so much similarity. But the IRS repoed a brothel for taxes, and they wound up running a brothel for some period of time. I don't think it was a Bunny Ranch, but I've heard of them. So he sued them. What did he sue them for?
Well, Cat House was the Bunny Ranch, the series on Showtime. But anyway, I'll tell you a brief story.
Okay.
Russell got dressed up in his Friday best. Now, I had his boss on the show to tell this story.
God.
He worked at like a Walmart or some store like that, doing janitorial work, and he came to work dressed up in a tuxedo because he had to leave immediately from work to catch the bus because Russell is scared of flying from Salt Lake City down to the Bunny Ranch in Nevada because he had a date with his girlfriend, which is what he told his boss. Now, so he does all the mopping and everything in his tux, and then he leaves work and he gets on. I'll stop sharing so you can talk to me. So he gets on the bus and rides in his tux the several hours down to Nevada. It was probably like a 6-hour bus ride or whatever. And he gets to the Bunny Ranch and he goes and he spends, he drops $4,000 hiring Kira or something like that. And now before he wants to get to the deed, right? Russell has the girlfriend experience is what it's called. So he actually takes her via limousine from the Bunny Ranch to the local Olive Garden. Now he gets to the Bunny Ranch around 9 or 10 in the morning. And the Olive Garden, I think 9 a.m. The Olive Garden doesn't open till 11 though. So they go to Kira's room and they talk for a while. And then she rides with him in the limo to the Olive Garden and they have their food. And then they get back to the Bunny Ranch and his 4 hours of time is up. And he's like, but wait, we didn't do the thing that we're supposed to do.
Purpose of the exercise, presumably.
So he goes after and he I don't think he actually sued the Bunny Ranch. He threatened to sue him. He's a paralegal. He threatened to sue the Bunny Ranch. And he ended up, credit to Russell, I think he ended up getting some credit with the Bunny Ranch that he spent on his own. But this is...
Okay, I gotta stop. I gotta stop you. I am going to take your word for it because I know you're a good guy. If you're making fun of someone that pathetic, he must just absolutely be the worst possible.
Oh, he's
but
awful.
I don't want to hear about it. I believe you. Let's good grief.
Yeah, no, he has sued Taylor Swift multiple times. He has sued Ariana Grande. He sued a random stripper that he fell in love with because she liked one of his posts on Facebook, and then he demanded it. I talked to Taylor Swift's counsel in Utah.
Interesting.
Because he sued her in Utah in small claims court. And the guy representing her, I sent him an email and I asked him about it, and he said that Russell had proposed as settlement a dinner date with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's like it also came with an axe and a garbage bag and a shovel, I think. But
Russell's such a sheltered life, Nick.
Russell is a fantastic character.
Can you expand that window, by the way? Because I'll put my reading glasses on.
Does it need to be a little?
We know that the reading glasses and the earbuds can have unfortunate interactions. So
This is about as large as I can get.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, the jokes from that line are done. All right. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, this is the shit again. And does Percy really need more time to review documents when he had time to draft that LOLable motion to strike? Yeah. Funimation had 168 pages in theirs. The next one was, I don't know, 600 pages or something. So, yeah, need more time. Maybe he wants more time to draft a motion for sanctions we speculated about on day 52, question mark. Okay, I don't know about that. We got to tie a few things down, but I would give it a 75 to 80% likelihood that we'll be filing a motion for sanctions. Texas doesn't, it will punish salacious and pointless pleadings. And so, Mr. Douchebag, if you want to know that what's going to happen, just stay attuned. Now, I don't think that's going to happen before the anti-SLAPP hearings.
Oh, here's what he's referring to. His tweet from 2 days earlier, because this sped is so great that he quotes himself often.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, can you say the word for me? Can you say spednot?
No, I can't, and I'll tell you why. I'm not lecturing you, Nick.
No, you're fine.
Those kind of terms. I have a good friend who has special needs kids, and I got my ears pinned back by his wife one time because I was using the word libtard.
Oh, sure.
And fucktard and various other things. And they really are trying hard to, stop that kind of stuff. So no, I don't use that word. And I'm not scolding you.
No, you're fine. Even if you were scolding me, you'd be fine. How about inbred knot? Can we do that one?
Inbred knot. Just dumbass knot. I mean, Nick, is this what this is going to be? I mean, it's okay. Maybe people don't realize this. I don't read these people because I have a life and a job. So I hear from you about it, and I occasionally see something on the forums and that kind of thing. But is this what the rest of this stream is going to be like? I mean,
no, we're not gonna hang out in T. Greg's. Truth be told, prior to now, I have not actually seen these tweets because I don't read his stupid thing either. It would take my entire day to read his pathetic musings.
Yeah, what does he do? Like hundreds of tweets a day, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, at this point in time, he was tweeting every 3 minutes.
Good grief.
But so he's referencing his own tweet here from 2 days prior. It says, a realization the lawsuit is going to get blown TF out, but still needing the convicts to be jazzed about it actually makes me wonder if Percy will file a motion for sanctions to kick things up a notch. So apparently,
no, file a motion to sanctions because I believe that the pleadings filed by certain defendants are sanctionable.
Yeah,
it's really not any more complicated than that. The great thing is we have a thing called a court, and the court will evaluate the merits of whatever motions we file or don't file. But as I said, 75+% chances it's coming. The judge will evaluate this. Judges in Texas are given very broad latitude for sanctions, and I've as required by the local rules, I attempted to confer with counsel and said, and I'm pretty sure these emails are out there. That's something that maybe the viewers or the folks would understand. We're required by the rules to confer. That means we've got to make an actual attempt to resolve it before we file a motion. If we don't, the clerk is instructed to boot the motion. So these morons who consider that begging or something, no, we're doing what we have to do. And you'll see in the email sometimes I'll say something like, I assume you're opposed to this. Let me know if that's incorrect. That's even really, the judges really would like us not even to do that. They really do want us to try to work things out. Well, so when I said, this is what you have filed that is sanctionable, okay? And again, I think the emails are out there, so I don't even disclose anything. I don't care anyway. But I identified in an email to opposing counsel exactly what I thought were sanctionable. And I said, to avoid our motion, you must pull these things down. Now, That's just that's the conference. That's the requirement to confer. I don't expect them to pull them down. I mean, I would have probably had to be defibrillated if that happened, but I am required to do that.
Right.
So I find it's an interesting strategy going, nana, 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 you won't dare file a motion for sanctions. Okay. Okay. Anyway, kick things up. How does filing a motion for sanctions kick things up?
You got to understand that these people live on Twitter. They live on Twitter. And so what they think, this is what they think about you, is that everything you're doing is engineered, well, of course, through me, by my puppetry.
Well, again, I'm still confused as to who's puppeting who.
Right.
But I guess we'll have to work that out. And that whole circular reference thing. Anyway, sorry.
But the whole idea is that your filings are not engineered for the court to consider, therefore grifting money through the GoFundMe. That's so what you're filing.
Actually, this was kind of funny. Or is this all just to make sure Percy's got more time to bill the grift for me account?
Oh yeah, it's right there. There it is.
He's such a shit lawyer that it's hard to tell.
To be honest.
Okay. But there's a reason he didn't include those emails. Yeah, I think I explained it. Well, first of all, Greg, I don't bill the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is transferred to our firm account. So, I mean, there will be an accounting, but I don't bill. That's not how it works. Boy, these people sure do seem to be pissed off about the GoFundMe.
Well, you got to understand, Greg doesn't get paid.
No, that would explain it. Perhaps if Greg wouldn't spend all day on Twitter, he could get some clients that would pay him. I just spitballing, but
I don't know. What do I know?
Again, he's such a shit lawyer. Okay. Really?
Well, I mean, apparently, that's T. Greg's assessment.
I mean, I think I've said this before, Nick. I find it somewhat amusing. As you know, I grew up in East Texas named Percy. Okay, believe me, guys, you can't say anything that I haven't already heard. And by the standards of East Texas middle school, this is pretty sad. Greg, you need to up your game, buddy. This is just embarrassing.
I think
Anyway.
I think this next one's for me.
There you go.
Okay, you'll have to pardon my English stream. I don't like to use profanity unless I'm really heated, but I'm not heated at all here. But this is Jesse Pridemore. How did this hoe get a blue check mark? Anyway, this guy fronting like I didn't block fuckface months ago. Go ahead and cry to the leader of the alt-right crybabies. Which, okay, I'm the leader.
Curse your devastatingly sharp wit.
I am the leader of the alt-right crybabies. That's because Mike Lupus.
Nick, the tendrils of your influence apparently know no bounds.
I'm the most powerful person I've ever heard of. And then of course this has an appearance by Mars Girl. It says, I'm telling mom, that's quoting me apparently, or no, quoting that guy talking to me. And then finally says, they won't talk to mom. They'll talk to dad first because they know he's really not paying attention to what they're doing. Also because they're pretty obviously douches when it comes to respecting women in the first place. Sorry. You can tell immediately. Just look, his name has Knight in it. GL Knight 83.
That's too good. That's too good.
Oh, come on.
GL Knight, she's not going to sleep with you, buddy.
And trust me, you don't want that.
You don't want to. Yes. No kidding.
You don't want that AIDS-riddled frame. Next we've got, who's this one? This one might be for you. Oh, that one's boring. God, she's not funny.
And I prefer El Jefe.
Yeah, she calls you Percy. Let's see what this one is.
By the way, we've already had this conversation. There's another Percy Tyrone out there that I just found out about like 2 months ago. Percy Tyrone Sledge.
Yeah.
50, a good chunk of my life, and I never knew that. So,
Let's see. Jesse Pridemore at Sleep says, I love when people compare me to Blackface Lawyer. Blackface Lawyer, quote, my black friend said it was okay. Me, this is the worst mistake I ever made. The worst mistake you ever made. And have spent the last several years saying what I did was wrong and teach people why it was wrong instead of sweeping it under the rug. So if you don't know, Jessie Pridemore, she culturally appropriated somebody by doing a cosplay where she darkened her skin. Which, honestly, who cares? She did a cosplay and darkened her skin. But these are the rules that they set up, right?
Yeah, I agree with Stanley in that picture.
Well, yeah, well...
But I agree with Stanley as applied to her, not...
Thirsty Tyler Brown, all of these people. Here's the interesting thing. Of course, it wasn't just my black friend said it was okay. He was the sole audience.
Yeah,
he was the sole audience, and I was...
dressed up as him, didn't you? You dressed up as Drake.
That was the joke. And it was self-deprecating because if you ever see Drexel next to any normal-looking person, his muscles make them look pathetic. Yeah. And so here I am, like 165-pound scrawny white guy, dressed up as a 260-pound monolithic black guy. Like that was the whole gimmick, was that it looked ridiculous.
Here, the funny thing about this is I'm getting tired, and I assume a whole lot of people are, because the GoFundMe has some evidences. I'm getting tired of people culturally appropriating my outrage. If Drexel wasn't offended by that, this stupid bitch needs to shut up.
Oh, well,
it's none of her business, right?
No, it's definitely the business of very busy white women to be offended on behalf of black men.
Yeah. I've heard some of Drexel's theorizing on that, and God, I hope he's wrong. I fear he may not be, but But I mean, that's the thing, right? I've asked this. Excuse me. I've asked this question before, and I'll ask this as an open question to all these idiots. What have you actually done to remedy the discrimination or whatever it is that you're out there ranting about?
Whoa. They tweeted about it.
Hold it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Scolding doesn't count because, number one, it doesn't cost you anything, and number two, it does not give anything of benefit to the victims of the discrimination. So tell me, please, what specific things you have done. What money have you given to causes? What volunteer work have you done?
Ty, she is the sheepdog, and she protects by tweeting.
Okay, I'll walk into that.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's for me. This one's for me, and then we'll find one for you in just a second. Yeah. 4 beautifully put reasons why Blackface Lawyer is a crook and scamming people out of money.
Is that like an accent or something over the E, or is
no? It's a down arrow that's put on the archive page because I'm blocked by these people.
Okay, I was just curious.
Now notice there 4 beautifully put reasons. There's 3. So one. So K-Chen's an idiot, by the way. But let's. There's several facts of varying quality on the table. Most important being 1, he has a YouTube channel that is monetized. So everyone with a YouTube channel that is monetized, they're a crook scamming people. 2,
blackface lawyers as well.
I hope not.
Okay.
Wait, no, I hope so. I hope so.
I appropriated that from you.
Next is public record implies he doesn't practice enough to make money. Now, okay, Ty. What percentage of your practice is in court versus out of court?
You mean like time actually spent in a courtroom?
Well, no, I mean like so if you've got clients, how many clients do you represent that never go to court?
Because the vast majority of them, because they're business owners, and my job is to solve problems before we go to the courthouse.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not common at all. Now, it depends on the practice area too. It depends, but myself personally, no, I'm hired to solve problems, not necessarily just going to court is a tool. So yeah, I doesn't practice anyway.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because like I guess these people assume that I don't do anything other than the court cases that I do. But I mean, I represent software developers. I represent. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say Archer Farms. Pay attention to the super chats. I think that's money.
Well, that is, but even in so the criticism here is public record implies he doesn't practice enough to make money. The vast majority of my law practice is not public record.
The vast majority of all law practice is not public record. I mean, again, we're back to that rant I'm gonna get to in a minute about these folks. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, because a lot of what I do is I represent people in preparation for various things. I set up trusts. I do business
contract reviews, business. You probably do corporate formation, LLCs and companies, that kind of stuff.
And I do nonprofits, and I do 501c3 applications, and I do all of that stuff as well.
Oh yeah, we do that too. By the way, although I know why you would have a certain familiarity with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Nick. It seems to me that you're able to keep body and soul together, though.
I don't know. I've heard that I'm broke and homeless, and I'm broadcasting from my parents' basement, which is pretty funny. I'm not sure that they have a basement.
I don't think they have basements. Yeah.
Oh, this is funny to me. You can maybe you don't have to comment on this, but just for a chuckle, someone suggested that my dad's influence got me into law school.
Okay. Interesting notion.
It's a funny one. I gotta tell him.
Yeah, it is. And Bob, if you're, I mean, I hope your dad understands it. I say this with all due respect. Yeah, that is pretty funny.
I just don't know why a law school would listen to him.
No. If you were going into now, I imagine that a recommendation for him in the field in which he is employed or was employed at the time, I would imagine a recommendation from a guy like him actually would carry a certain amount of weight.
Yeah, I would think so.
But that's not law.
No.
In fact, it's almost really about as far away from law as you can get and still make an honest living.
Wait a minute. No, I think anywhere far away from law is making an honest living.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I can't think of too many professions that are more diametrically opposed than that. So, yeah, that's pretty humorous.
Oh, and then he seems to have a personal connection with Beard.
Really?
The hot takes.
They put all that together all by themselves.
Okay, let's see.
Wow. Curse their talons of logic. Their fiery intellects are well beyond us, Nick.
What's this one?
I think we just lost the case again. Just reading this.
Yeah. Stuff. Oh, of course. I'm trying to find. Some of these are screenshots and some of them are links. So, hold on. I need to find. Oh God, these are going to be good.
So far, the celebrities get better mean tweets than we have. Now,
yeah.
I'm not disrespecting your Discord in any way.
No, it's not the Discord's fault that the other side isn't funny.
Well, that's true. I mean, they're stuck with the raw material they've got.
Yeah. Okay. So this one might be interesting.
A little bit.
Let's see. Oh, he's okay. So this is a long one from Mike Dunford.
This is that idiot you were talking about last night. I've heard you mention this guy.
Very charitable of you to change it to Guy. Okay, so
I'm always going to think the best of people.
You're a giver.
Yeah, I'm a giver. Yes, well known.
So now I have to say, so this is July 30th. I have to be very honest here. So these are yesterday's tweets, and today Mike has actually come out and said that he spoke in error. He spoke in haste or whatever about the hearing. He got caught up in the moment. So he actually did the proverbial bitch up. And
what moment?
Well, he said I got his goat, and I got him too emotionally invested in his analysis.
Has he interacted with you for any length of time?
Well, I mean, since the super lawyers showed up on Twitter, he's been on and off. Now, at first, I actually was hoping to talk to Mike because he likes 40K. He likes Warhammer stuff, and he seemed reasonable. But then the annoying thing was, is as time went on, I think he got wrapped up. He's like, the really lame kid in school who hangs out like around the cool, popular kids.
Yeah.
And then they get wrapped up in it.
The toadies.
Right. So they think that they're the cool, popular kid.
Mm-hmm.
And no besmirching Mike. I mean, probably besmirching Mike.
From what I'm reading
but
here.
I think what happened is that Mike got wrapped up and thought that he was in the popular kids group. And so then he was acting like one. And that's like, why? Now, the annoying thing with all these people is if they just wanted attention, they could have come on the show, gotten a ton of attention, made points, and had a good discussion with me. It didn't even have to be hostile.
Well, Nick, I mean, I've noticed that about you all along. You always engage them, at least initially, with reason. I mean, you'll take on all comers and you'll say, well, this is why I think this and da-da-da-da. They, of course, begin to dissemble and don't answer your questions and eventually get tired of putting up with that crap. But, I mean,
and they get
I've never seen you be reasonable.
They get overly specific.
Yeah.
This is an academic plague, is that when you're discussing something with someone who is of high education, no matter what field it is, they want their arguments to be overly specific because that's what you have to do, and including in the practice of law, of course. When you go before a judge, you have to lay out with specificity, with citations and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that and sophistry, which it sounds like is what.
Well, my point in this is a lot of their criticisms of me are because they expect that I'm going to engage a lay audience as if I'm writing a paper for law review.
Oh, good Lord.
Which nobody on earth reads law review, even lawyers.
Get rid of these troublesome super chats. That'd be one way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, it would nobody. Guys, trust me. Like, and of course, so these guys all have some illusion that they would do great on like a YouTube show because they would go into the in-depth chain of citations.
And yet they don't.
Well, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, that's the thing. And yet they don't.
Okay, so anyway, let's get into these tweets.
Okay, is this about me, I guess, or is it about you?
This is about your motion. Right. Yesterday, your amended motion yesterday. Okay. So let's see. Here we're gonna start here. I think is good.
Okay.
I've got it.
Before I dig in, though, here's something I think is worth noting. It's not uncommon for lawyers to be accommodating when it comes to scheduling requests. That's kind of ironic, actually.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that everyone else's schedule is tight and that you might be the next one to need some leeway. Kind of like I did very consistently throughout this process.
Now, let me be clear. Not everybody's schedule is tight. Not everybody's schedule is tight.
Right. The speed and vehemence with which all defendants have opposed the motion to continue suggests, as if my prior thread wasn't evidence enough, that time might not have much of a stock of goodwill left with opposing counsel. Well, Mike, I don't give a damn. Words can't express how little I care how much goodwill I've got with anybody. This is an adversarial process. They're fighting to win. I'm fighting to win. I believe it was unwise of them to choose that particular hill to dig in on, but that's just my opinion.
Sure.
But if you're going to devastatingly criticize me by saying my opponents don't like me, I didn't really get you very far, I don't think. Okay. And in fact, this opposition starts by pointing out that Markey's counsel has been very accommodating the schedules of others. Yeah, Sam's been a good guy. I mean, now I haven't actually asked Sam for anything. He has been, and I don't think Sam's being disingenuous. I'm simply saying I don't recall asking Sam. I don't think I've asked for any kind of concession from them. He has agreed to make concessions with his co-counsel.
Right.
They scheduled a hearing at one point and didn't tell him, and he had to move his stuff around, and that's fine. And he did have to move some stuff around for the depositions. But that, yeah, I mean, I hadn't found Sam to be unreasonable at all. I was not overly surprised that they opposed that, because I think they felt like that if they could somehow get us in a vice grip of time, that it would dramatically improve their chances of winning. No, you see, we had a contingency plan, and we were perfectly willing to work 18-hour days and get this stuff done if we had to by Thursday. But that would have unintended consequences on other cases and on our own personal lives, and there was no reason for it.
Right.
So, I mean, we're getting to a point where my little rant may come into it, but obviously we're dealing with people here that don't actually know anything about the courtroom.
Well, I mean, let's let's not be too hasty.
Yeah. Of the counsel involved, Lemoyne is definitely the one who is the fiercest. We'll see about that. Sam Johnson has a nice understated way of turning a phrase. Yeah, Sam seemed like a real nice guy. I have no qualms with him.
I like Sam the most out of all of them, personally.
I so far, and and again, guy, I can like an opponent, genuinely like them, and I will still do my level best to take them apart in the courtroom, because that's the job I get paid for. Okay. Now, I've never found that getting along with opposing counsel hurt a case. Okay. But yeah, I have no complaints about Sam or John, either one, at this point, other than I believe their tactically ill-advised attempt to fight and die on this hill, because I don't think their problem in this hearing, okay, is this. Look, this is going to be their problem in this case as a whole. I hope if they're listening to this, good. I want them to hear this. You're not going to draw me into taking an unreasonable position on something, because I don't do that. And I don't know how many of these hearings we're going to have for you to figure that out. But if I ask the court for a remedy and schedule a hearing to back it up, you're not going to be able to argue with anything resembling credibility that I'm being irrational or unreasonable or anything like that. And so, with all due respect and love and affection, counsel, I would focus on winning the case. I would, because I'm just not going to make it easy on you. And this hearing today was a perfect example. The other side was not harmed in the least by the court granting our motion. We arguably would have been very harmed by the court turning us down. Okay, what would you want a judge to do in that situation, assuming that you're not biased against either party? You want the judge to be the fairest to all the parties. Well, the fairest to all the parties was to give us what we asked for. And that's been the case in every hearing we've gone into. So, that's my, soliloquy on that. Well, obviously, I've been up now almost, not 24 hours, but up about 19 hours. I was up at 3 in the morning. Yeah. I was at the office by 4. And I spent the morning prepping for this hearing. I mean, that.
I know lawyers aren't good at math, but you're at 22 hours.
Oh no, I'm a lawyer, not an accountant. So yeah. So anyway, but yeah, first of all, everybody in this case is a professional and they know their business. I've never insinuated otherwise, and I don't believe otherwise. One thing that I always bear in mind is that the guy on the other side of the table, or the gal, passed the same bar exam that I did, got the same law degree. And, so, talking about how great my opponents are. Look, it doesn't matter how smart you are. What matters are results. And right now, I'm perfectly satisfied with the results we've achieved so far. But we're not even close to the end of this. it would be very unwise for anybody to rest on their laurels at this stage.
Of course not. Of course.
You know, so
okay, so he's.
A plaintiff complains about having to read a lot. No.
That was a quote from one of their motions.
Yeah, that was pretty pissy. And pointless.
Let me point out, damn son, someone send Ty a 55-gallon drum of Bactine forthwith. It might be enough to take the edge off. Apparently that line cut you so deep that you need industrial disinfectant.
Answer me this question. These people seem incredibly prone to ridiculously overstating things.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not just...
Well, they're bad spin artists. Like, that's... this is Law Twitter. Law Twitter's job is to dunk.
This is embarrassing.
Wow. I mean, hey, you want to get trademarks? You want to get a trademark suit?
I'm sorry. My apologies. This is embarrassing. Trademark, Rekieta.
Yeah.
No challenge to his trademark.
Thank you. I'll take a $1 annual license on that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is embarrassing. I mean, is this guy a lawyer?
Well, Mike is technically a bar admitted attorney.
Okay. Is he a lawyer or not?
Well, how do you define lawyer?
What I mean is, I define, it's funny. A law professor of mine said this. He said, an attorney is somebody that has a law degree. A lawyer is someone who actually practices law. I don't know if he's right about that, but I've always personally thought that. So does this guy have clients that he represents for money? And that he puts his license on the line for?
I have not been able to find a single client that. Now the problem with that is the state bar, this Hawaii court system does not actually allow you to search by attorney name or bar number.
Well, then let's go with the assumption that the answer is no.
Oh yeah, I think that's safe.
Okay. Well, okay. Now we've got some amateur. Because I'm sorry, guys, having a law degree and passing the bar in and of itself doesn't somehow make you not an amateur. Unless you've actually gotten in there and done it a lot, you're an amateur. So now we got some mouthy amateur popping off on stuff that he doesn't know.
Do you see the shade he's throwing at me, guys? Do you see the shade Ty's throwing?
Oh yeah, right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Just move down to Texas. I've got an office already there for you. That, by the way, is actually true. But yeah. But I've said this before. You do on your show the one thing that I truly respect. You do what every lawyer ought to do. You go through every single line. I don't know that I'd have the patience to do a show like you do.
I have the liquor to do it.
Well, whatever it is, because that's the way you got to do it in the real world. What people need to understand, and this I'm just offering this up. So if your lawyer screws your case up and you lose $1 million, your remedy is to sue the lawyer. You're still out the $1 million. Okay? So when we're representing clients, that client's well-being is dependent upon our ability to do our job. And if we screw up, the client still gets hurt. And by the way, the lawyer can't always make the client whole.
No.
I've handled 9-figure transactions. There's no way. You can't buy insurance for that. Okay? If I screwed those transactions up, my client would have been injured to the tune of many millions of dollars that I could not replace. So, all this theorizing and crap it's fine. Armchair quarterbacking is fine. But I guess to circle back to my point, though, the thing I do respect about your show is you do it right. And I don't think these Twitter people do the same thing, because already there seems to be a thread of overstatement and evasiveness in just about everything I've seen so far.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop the Dunford tweets because I skimmed them and they're boring.
Yeah. So far, I mean, and again, no disrespect to the Discord. They had the raw material they had.
Oh yeah, I think they did a good job finding the stuff they found. But this one's for me. This one's a little more. This guy is a little more inflammatory. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for inflammatory. This one was actually funny. Okay. What new fresh hell today? So this is July 12th. No, these wannabes don't get it. They keep swilling Nick's Fool-Aid. I wish at MN Bar to look into the shenanigans and grift of Nick Rekieta and pull his license. I also think Texas State Bar should investigate Ty Beard and BHBH Law for malfeasance and malpractice. Complaint filed.
We don't represent you, dumbass.
This is great though. The Minnesota Bar replies to his tweet.
Oh, that's glorious.
The MSBA is a voluntary organization, and Mr. Rekieta is not a member. We are not in charge of attorney discipline. If you have a complaint with an attorney, please visit the Office of Lawyers' Professional Responsibility. Oh, God.
So, that is different. I mean, we are required in Texas to be a member of the State Bar of Texas. And the State Bar of Texas handles attorney discipline. Y'all got it split up. That's interesting. I like that, actually. I don't like being forced to be a member of any organization. But that's okay.
Oh, this one's against you. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this one up here. I'll blow this up for you. Here we go. So this is from Snark Knight. So this is for you to read.
He doesn't know how to authenticate exhibits in a deposition. Yeah, didn't have to, did I, at the end of the day? He doesn't know the difference between malice and actual malice. Yeah, I do. He doesn't know how to stand to address it. What, Nick? What is that? I've heard you mention that. What are they talking about?
So in your deposition, or not your deposition, in your transcript for the first hearing, where Bullock's running the hearing. Oh, here. I hate that I have to have the screen share on so you can't see me. That Bullock is running the hearing, and then you interject at some point.
Right. I stood up and said, yeah.
Wait a minute. Are we confirming that you stood up first?
Yes, of course.
Wait, are you sure that you... Because I know you've never been to a hearing in your life, so you stood up before addressing the court?
Even someone with no experience whatsoever like me would know that you always stand up when you address the court.
Aha! Cuckmate Ty. In Minnesota, all our hearings are recorded. All parties are recorded. And there are 2 microphones sitting at the table, and we do not stand to address the court.
Well, here's the thing. The judge can certainly say to counsel, y'all can take your seat. And you can ask the court, Your Honor, may I remain seated? Because we have microphones. But I can't ever remember not standing up to talk to the court. Ever. I mean, okay.
It's actually really difficult when I'm in court because I'm dead serious. We sit to deliver our arguments, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it because, of course, standing and demonstrating control of the courtroom and being able to, use body language and emphasis, that's all part of the persuasive art. I wouldn't like that. Okay, but help me out here. Where did they get the idea that I didn't stand?
So Chup, when you have your little exchange with Chup where he's like, "Who are you?" And you said,
he said, I thought you were the client. And I said, well, I'm the senior partner. I guess in a sense I am. And he chuckled and said, yeah.
His next line is, he says, "You should be standing up giving this argument."
Yeah. Okay. So
they read it like this: you should be standing up giving this argument. Not you should be up here doing this instead of your junior partner. They read it as you should be standing up, and because they assumed you were still sitting, because they assumed you've never been in a courtroom.
That's right. Well, we already know that, right? We've established that I've never been in a courtroom.
Yeah. I mean, I told you to stand. I don't know why you did.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, okay, not it at all, really. All right, so the judge had a smile on his face when he said that, because what he was doing is he was teasing me for scraping the hearing off on one of my minions, right?
Right.
I mean, it was just a little bit of a because that particular judge was a trial lawyer before he became a judge, and I suspect a pretty good one, based on observations so far. But anyway,
I'm sure Kiwi Farms is pulling Chump's trial record right now.
Yeah, that's okay. Whatever. That's beyond my control. But no, I mean, it was a friendly, dry exchange that happens in hearings. And guys, no one ever in the history of the planet lost a case because they didn't stand. It's just basic ingrained courtesy. Others may disagree. I can't ever. I just can't ever remember a time where I didn't stand to address the court or anybody. I mean, you just do that. I mean, it's like saying yes sir and no sir when you grow up in the South and you're a kid. I mean, okay. Well, I was just curious. No, okay. These people are idiots, because that's not what happened. As I said, I stood up because what was happening was, and this occurs in hearings, is the hearing was starting to get a little bit discombobulated. We were both sides are kind of getting off onto tangential issues, and I had one particular thing I needed out of that hearing. And Jim knew that, and this is not uncommon when we do hearings and stuff that this happens. Jim knew at some point I probably would stand up and say something. The judge was also teasing me a little bit. I don't know if that came through on the transcript or not, but I, of course, was writing notes to Jim constantly, like a client might do. And of course, yeah. Jim has total immunity. He is free to ignore anything I say, no matter how excited and jumpy I get.
By the way, if you're a client, if you're a client out there, let me just interject here. If you're a client out there and you're writing notes to your attorney while they're delivering the argument, let them finish the argument before you
shut your damn mouth.
Before you pound at your notepad, because oh my goodness, we've probably got what you wrote down already coming if you just wait 2 minutes.
Man, I am the most obnoxious and worst co-counsel you've ever seen. It's why I actually generally prefer to be the one running the hearing, because if I have to sit there quietly, I mean, I'll just wear you out. And Jim is so centered, right? He just whatever. Give it a second thought. So there's a lot of interplay that doesn't come through on the transcript. But what I find fascinating is, why would you assume all the various ridiculous things they're assuming?
I don't know. If I have to be,
when you were reporting, I assumed to be a lawyer.
Here's why. They read. And I don't think they even know this. They read the TDMA response letter, which was the 10-page summary letter. But not the 300 or the 400 and whatever page initial letters that you sent out.
Oh, so they thought that summary letter was the original letter?
Because, and this is probably breaking news to the chat, Shane Holmberg is so stupid that Shane thought... Stupid is... Sorry, he thought that the 10-page response letter, which is a summary, was the original... Well, I shouldn't say that Shane is stupid, okay?
I believe Shane's demonstrated that too.
Well, hold on. I think it's worse than that. Ron Toye, who I believe gave Shane that letter, hates Shane so much that he told Shane that was the initial letter that went out. However,
Shane, he clowned himself.
Because Ron and Monica disrespect Shane so much so as to not give him the information. So, what Shane put out on the internet as the first letter that you sent to Ron Toye is actually the 10-page summary response that your firm sent when Casey asked for clarification.
Right. Casey was taking advantage of a provision in the statute that says you can ask for clarification. And and we basically just said, well, read the damn letter we sent you. We're pretty clear on that. And we gave examples. Okay, I understand now what you're saying. Here's my problem. I believe that Shane is a moron. But
he is.
But Shane is also a layman. Okay, so he can be excused for making that mistake. Okay, I mean, he's not a lawyer. These Twitter lawyer people, on the other hand, are actually taking the word of a layman who I don't see how you can interact with a guy for more than 10 minutes without realizing there's something not right about him. But, okay, you're taking the word of a layman, and you're making legal pronouncements based on the words of a layman. Okay, first of all, here's a real simple advice to Twitter law. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, Twitter law. Law Twitter, I think. Law Twitter is.
If you believe a lawyer has made a spectacularly stupid mistake, you're probably wrong. You've probably overlooked something, because lawyers, generally speaking, don't make ridiculously stupid mistakes. We're pros. I mean, we're professionals. That's what we do for a living. Okay. You know, the guy that mows your yard doesn't tear your yard up typically. Yeah,
unless it's me mowing your yard, then he does.
The guy that you hire to mow your yard, right? But you see what I'm saying, though? Again, whatever regard I might have had for law Twitter is fast declining, because we're about to get to my rant here. But well, at least you're clearing some things up. So that was we sent something like we sent a letter for every single freaking tweet. I mean, our conference table was stacked from one end to the other. I think I might have even sent you a photo of it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you did. You sent me a photo. I showed it on the stream. The photo of the table full of paper.
You know, here's what I would do if I were commenting on well, first of all, if I'm commenting on a case that I'm not involved in, I'm very unlikely to make categorical statements. And you as well. I mean, you're very careful. I've noticed you will say, look, this is my opinion. I think but I would confirm a fact before I relied on it to loudly proclaim that someone else was an idiot. Because guess what? When you turn out to be wrong, you not only look like an idiot, but you look like an incompetent, sloppy idiot. Just saying. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it closes a loop, because I've been curious about that whole thing. Just what are they talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So they've gone off on this this incorrect. Now they've attacked some of the statements in the TDMA letters, of course, but they're going off of the idea that response was all that it was, rather than there being 400 other things, which is just yeah.
We complied with the statute. I mean, yeah, we complied with the statute like, I don't know, any lawyer on the planet would, I would think, except obviously Twitter lawyers.
Well, they don't have to comply with statutes.
Yeah, and now you're getting closer to my rant.
When are you going to give that rant? It's 1:40 in the morning.
God, wow. All right, let's do it.
Do it, yeah. Because we're going to have to wrap up before too long. I got to let you go to bed.
Yeah, I'm starting to get punchy anyway, but okay. Look, I'm a senior partner of a law firm that I founded. I've hired a number of very talented people, in many cases more talented than I am. So I'm going to proceed from the assumption that even my enemies will grant me some degree of competence in the area of being a lawyer and running a law firm. Twitter lawyers. Okay, those of you who are not lawyers and are just shooting your mouth off, this is not for you. Because look, it's a free country. You know, everybody can armchair quarterback all they want to. That's an American tradition. You guys that actually have law degrees and you guys that work for law firms, y'all are being very unwise jumping into the middle of these things. You're giving legal advice, whether you agree with it or not. You better check with your bar associations. The State Bar of Texas says if I give somebody legal advice, I've become their lawyer. It's just that simple, okay? So you clowns are out there giving legal advice to total strangers. You're even if you're not jeopardizing your law license, okay, you are destroying your credibility, okay? This idiot Dunford is a good example, okay? At every step, every comment of yours you've shown me, he's wrong. I mean, it's just that simple. He's wrong. He's not understanding basic things. He obviously is not a trial lawyer. In fact, I doubt he's ever been in the courtroom. Because if he has and he still says these things, then he's legally incompetent, but that's a different issue. My point being, you guys put a lot of effort and time into getting your law degree, into passing the bar and so forth. If any of your clients read this gibberish that you're doing out on the internet, they aren't going to say, wow, I'm glad I have that guy as my lawyer. You know what they're going to say? What the hell's wrong with him? Your best case scenario is they're going to say, wait a minute, he's got all this time to be talking on Twitter. Why won't he return my phone calls? So you're burning through priceless credibility that you can't get back. You know, once you've made a complete fool out of yourself out there, you can't get that credibility back. So, you know, I don't care what you say about me. I truly don't. First of all, what kind of lawyer would I be if I allowed, you know, hecklers on Twitter to have even the slightest impact on on how I represent my client? I do actually care about the fact that you're ruining your career and you're ruining something that you worked hard to get. Okay. Now, those of you who work for law firms, I can tell you right now, as the senior partner of a law firm, if I found out that one of my associates was spending hours every day when they should be doing billable work, screwing around on Twitter, I'd fire them on the spot. And by the way, Nick's already mentioned this, guys, but you people jacking with the farms, what in the hell are you thinking? They start doxing the senior partners in your firm, you're gone. Okay? That's not a call to dox anybody. I'm just simply making the statement if they do that. So this dopamine rush that you get from total strangers on Twitter is blinding you to some terribly destructive things. And by the way, if you make categorical pronouncements about a case that you're not involved with, that you're not hired to be part of, you are almost conclusively committing legal malpractice. You guys don't know more than 10% of what's going on in the Mignogna case, unless you have been hired to be in it. You can't tell shit from pleadings. Nothing that matters. Now, look, you want to get out there and pop off, that's fine. I truly don't care. But my biggest concern is I would advise anyone who has retained a lawyer, listen to the lawyer that you've hired. Don't listen to a bunch of Twitter imbeciles whose credentials you can't confirm, and who, by the way, are going to claim aren't your lawyer. See, the thing is, if you take their advice and it's wrong, you get hurt. And guess what? You can't hold them accountable. So for God's sakes, listen to the lawyers that you've hired, because if they give you bad advice, you can get their law license. And those of you on the sidelines trying to figure out who to listen to and who not to listen to, let me just suggest this. Listen to the people who have the most to lose if they're wrong. The people who have nothing to lose if they're wrong. The people who can simply stop tweeting if they get called on their bullshit. They're not really very credible. They could be right. I'm not saying but I got lawyer A that has nothing to lose by just saying anything he wants to say. And I got lawyer B who will get sued for malpractice if he says something wrong. If they are in tension, I'm going to go with lawyer B every time, because that's what sensible people do. So Twitter law, y'all keep yelling at the clouds all you want to. I truly couldn't care less. I just hate to see our profession be clowned by the likes of you. And you're doing it, and you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself a hell of a lot more than you're hurting me or anybody else. So come on, guys. Yeah. As I said to Duchette, the very first interaction I had with him, Give me a call and I'll enlighten you. I absolutely would have taken that idiot's phone call if he'd called me, and I would have explained it. I answered any question I reasonably could within the bounds of legal ethics. You may not like me. I couldn't care less. You may love me. Okay, I like that. But here's the thing. I'm getting paid. I'm a professional. I'm doing my job. And I intend to win. I'm pretty sure my opponents would say the same thing. I certainly expect they intend to win.
I'm not sure they can say they're getting paid. Sorry, that was my...
Not. Yeah, good point. Good point. That's unfortunate. The legal system works best when everybody gets paid. But, you Twitter lawyers, guys, Twitter doesn't have the slightest impact on my life. I use it to thank people for gifts. I occasionally check in and see what my daughter's doing. But on no planet would I ever allow random morons on Twitter who are yelling at me to influence anything in my life. Certainly not how I do my job that I get paid to do. Anyway, sorry.
Are you suggesting that a lawyer actively representing someone in a case should probably not be focused on online commentary about the case?
I am not just suggesting it, Nick. I am asserting it, that if you're allowing online commentary to affect how you represent your client, you are committing malpractice, and you are also doing a terrible disservice to our profession. And guys, it's not like people love us to death anyway. We don't really need the help. But yeah, I absolutely am saying that.
Well, I don't know why that would be funny to me, that there might be a practicing attorney who is overly focused on online commentary, but maybe he shouldn't be.
I want to offer some tactical advice because obviously others have been very, very generous with their tactical advice. I want to offer some tactical advice to other attorneys out there. The things that you rant about in your pleadings are like giant neon signs about what gets to you.
No, they never tell you what is the most effective thing.
And I can promise you, I scrutinize opposing counsel's pleadings very carefully for any clue I can get, because I want to understand my enemy as best I can. In a perfect world, I want to be able to put myself completely in their shoes and say, if I were them, this is what I do, and that'd be 100% accurate. So you probably shouldn't be quite so forthcoming about what's pissing you off. Now, totally different question about whether you should be pissed off about it, which is the other rant I wanted to give real quick. Okay, apparently, Nick, they don't get you. Some don't get you. Guys, Mr. Rekieta here is not only is he sharp as a tack and really one of the better lawyers I've ever known, okay? But you need to understand, he doesn't give a flying bleep about what you think about him. Not one bit. And so all your pathetic, sad, miserable attempts to scold him, he just laughs at you. It's painful to watch you sometimes. I have occasionally gotten on Twitter and checked out Nick's feed, and it's painful to watch you flail about trying to land a blow on him. Would you like me to tell you how you beat Nick Rekieta?
No.
Nah, sorry, buddy. I'm gonna have to say you out.
Oh, it's a free speech stream.
Don't worry, they're not going to ever do it because it's going to require them to come to terms with something they can't come to terms with. Number one, you have to accept that he's at least as smart as you, and quite likely smarter. Okay, just playing the odds. Number two, you have to make your argument cogently, and you got to back it up with facts and the law. And the thing is, I found Nick to be quite gracious, actually. If you say, I was wrong about that, he'll go, oh, yeah, okay. But you come swaggering in with this bullshit of, you're wrong, and because I've got, this, that, and everything. The guy's just going to torture you because he doesn't care what you think. Anyway, that's my PSA. I'm trying, I'm a giver, and I'm trying to help you idiots who keep, tangling with Nick. You're not bringing if that's your A game, you need to get off Twitter. because it's not even close. All right, Nick. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your stream, but I feel I really.
You're too kind. You're too kind to them.
I'm at an age, probably, but I'm at a point in my life where, I'm kind of where I want to be, and I really would hate to think that there are people out there who might have been able to have a pretty successful legal career who are thrown it all away for no reason other than they just want to get attention on Twitter.
Yeah.
Look, he sets a good example. He obviously doesn't have any clients because nobody could tweet hundreds of times a day like you're describing. They've got clients. Greg, go out, go take a course in marketing, okay? Go study some other area of law that you don't know anything about. Go volunteer at soup kitchens. There's almost anything you can do that's a better use of your time than screaming at the clouds on Twitter, because you're not affecting me one bit, except to move me to pity you. And I really don't think you want my pity, but I really do feel sorry for you. Now, that won't stop me from lighting you up because you are a complete prick. But, I do feel bad for you. Dunford, if what I just saw is an example of your brilliant thinking, man, go do something else. Because no client that reads your gibberish and reads Nick's very cogent replies and your complete and total dissembling is going to say, yeah, I want to hire that guy.
Well, so he is doing something else. He's getting a PhD in copyright, which is weird. I don't. God. But the funny thing is, my buddy, who's a copyright attorney, absolutely lit him up on the on the trademark issue. But this is I've got to go off. Go ahead. No, I've got to go off topic for a second. So finish up. And then,
well, no, I mean, I'm pretty much through. But that's a perfect example, though, right there, of some theoretician trying to tangle with an actual professional. My friend Paul Minson, he's a very brilliant engineer, one of the smartest guys I've ever known, has a great saying. He says, in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice.
Right.
But the real world of practicing law is just, I mean, I think you actually do them more credit than they deserve when you compare them to law students.
I'm a giver.
Right. You're out there trying to help. The quality of legal reasoning I'm seeing on Twitter, just from what you're showing me, would be failed in the law school that I went to, and probably the one you went to as well. I mean, this is, look, you're far better off saying, I don't like that son of a bitch. No one can falsify that statement, and it's fair, But we've literally lost the case. Every single thing. By the way, I'll offer you a challenge. Tell us how we can win the case.
Oh, well, you can win the case by paying all of the defendant's legal fees, and
win the case by giving the other side exactly what they want in their wildest dreams,
and resigning.
Okay, let's assume that I'm not going to do that.
Well, I don't know. It's impossible. Then.
Right? You've talked about moving goalposts in your streams, Nick. Well, best I can tell, had the judge denied our motion, we would have lost the case. Now, apparently, despite the fact that we actually got a better outcome than we even asked for in our motion, we've lost the case because we're being given the rope to hang ourselves. Is that the theory?
It's now appeal proof. That's one of the theories I saw, is that if you lose, it's now appeal proof because you can't claim that you didn't have enough time.
Right.
Which realistically you wouldn't. I don't think that would have been appealable anyway.
No.
That would have been, you could try, but trying to overcome trial court's discretion in a scheduling motion on appeal is, oh God, they're going to say, yeah, we're going to defer to the trial court on that one.
Yeah, believe me, that's a longest yard kind of situation. So if I'm hearing this correctly, no matter what the outcome was, we lost the case.
Of course.
Okay. You guys are idiots You really are. And here's the thing, you will never be a good lawyer if you can't figure out that those kind of statements are nothing more than an expression of religious belief. That's not a legal argument. That's just magical thinking in its most basic and childlike sense. So if you want to tell us how we can win the case, I'm kind of actually curious about that. Without ridiculous things like give the other side what they want. No, we're not going to do that. But I would respect someone saying if they get denied, they've lost the case. But if they get the time they need, they're maybe they didn't win it, but at least they're better. That would have been a fair statement,
right?
But if you guys are actually out there just arguing, no matter what they do, they've lost. Okay, whatever. You're embarrassing yourselves. And what's tragic about it is truly tragic. I don't think you know it. Here's the thing: if you're an associate in a law firm and you're spending work time in the day tweeting, you're stealing from your employer.
Well, you have to realize, Ty, that many of these people with anonymous names, very anonymous names on Twitter, are all senior partners of law firms until you figure out their names. And then they're not senior partners anymore. Well, they're universally junior associates.
Well, here's the thing. You're stealing from your firm if you're spending work time fucking around on Twitter. Okay. And by the way, your senior partners didn't get to be senior partners because they're idiots. Okay. Just take that as read. Those of you who are self-employed and are spending work days fucking around on Twitter are far worse because you're stealing from yourself and from your family. And quite likely from the few clients that you do have. Because I can tell you right now, we never have enough time in the practice of law. One of the biggest problems lawyers across the country have, we all have it, is staying up with clients, returning phone calls. And that's the number one complaint. The American Bar Association studies this every couple of years. Number one complaint, they don't return my phone call. Okay, if you're really busy, you've almost certainly got some clients that you need to be calling and keeping up to date. What are they going to think when they see a bunch of tweets during the workday?
Yeah.
Aren't they going to say, that guy's got time to screw around on Twitter, but he can't return my phone call, or he can't get my motion filed, or he can't fill in the blank? You guys are supposedly professionals. For fuck's sake, act like one. I've never in my life been more embarrassed for my profession than when I'm reading this gibberish that Nick is showing me. I'm serious. I'm deadly serious.
I believe it.
Seriously, I worked hard to get my law degree. I worked hard to get my clients. I worked hard to persuade some very talented people to go to work with me. And when I see people damaging my profession, look, if you were getting paid to do it, I'd respect that in a way. But you're damaging our profession for the accolades of strangers who will never give you a dime. And Nick, you insinuated something. I hope you're wrong, and I think you are. I don't think any of the lawyers in this case have allowed law Twitter to affect their thinking. If they have, they're ethically bound to resign immediately, because we're not allowed to let other people affect how we represent our clients.
I'm just saying, in one of those TCPA motions, they cited to the thread knot.
Listen,
and said, man, look, there are other lawyers who think we should win.
Really? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That maybe wasn't their best moment. But Nick, here's the thing. I'm with you kind of like I am with Drexel. I hope you're wrong. Don't know how much money I'd bet against you, but I hope you're wrong.
We'll see. Now,
yeah, we will.
Monty Python. And now for something completely different. This is all for you. I don't think you've seen this.
Ooh, a bayonet.
A bayonet.
Bayonet. Ah, yes.
This is I believe it's 1916.
Springfield.
No, this is Spanish, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We've determined.
It's probably a standard thing, but
yeah.
Nice, man. Where'd you get that?
I got this in Hawaii at this store that buys up estates of rich people. And
Nice.
there's a guy in there. It was actually, I didn't buy it from the store. I bought it from a guy who was trying to sell it to the store. But he picked up military knives. He had this. He actually had one of what were the precursors to the Navy SEALs? The frogmen or whatever.
The frogmen. UDTs, underwater demolition teams, I think, were also.
He had an old UDT diving knife and stuff. I picked this up.
Badass.
I picked this up. This is the original leather sheath too. So this thing's like 100. This is 100 years old. It's crazy to think about that.
It's a great shape too. And by the way, anybody that wants to read about special forces and how they developed, I can't recommend any higher. Read about the first special service force in World War II. They were called the Devil's Brigade, and there was a pretty good little war movie made in the 60s about it. But that was a joint U.S.-Canadian special forces outfit, and they, I think, could easily claim to be the baddest of the bad in World War II. Anyway, just pass that on.
Yeah. So I just thought you might like it. It was fun. I saw it and I was like, how much is it? I got it. I don't know if it was a good deal. I paid like $100 for it. And
it's worth. Oh yeah, that's worth that.
I was like, it's older than that. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. I'm impressed. I love old. I said something to Brianna. I think we are kind of winding down, but you'll appreciate this.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready for the stream. I fire up my laptop, and of course, it won't come up. I mean, it's been a horrible tech day. I've told you about all the drama this morning. And right. I said, honey, the World War II generation would not have put up with this shit. They just would have expected it to work. Now, she thought I was snarking at boomers and subsequent generations, but I really am not. That was a mechanical generation. That generation, they were used to machines that worked. I get so I like old stuff like that bayonet. I like old gear like that. The basic Zippo lighter, one of the most brilliantly engineered pieces of machinery ever. Anyway, just. I think my grandfathers would have just looked at the computer and it would have immediately started working.
I thought you were going to tell me that what was it? One of my relatives, I'm not gonna state my relation to this relative because I don't want them to ever be able to identify themselves. I was at their house and I was like, this computer is older than my marriage and you should get a new one. And they, bless their heart. They're like, but this one, it's been running so well. Like this is a person who is, got cars and tractors and all sorts of, like if he could oil change this computer, it would be just fine.
It's an appliance.
Right? Yeah.
It's an appliance.
And I'm like, no. He's like, but it runs really well. And I said, it actually doesn't run really well at all. And it's not going to get better with age. This thing's a disaster.
Moore's law has no relevance outside of electronics.
Right.
That completely doesn't exist in the real world. No, I mean, but that's right. I mean, we all have family that we go to the house and it's like, wow, does that thing have vacuum tubes in it? Well, it still works just fine.
Yeah, except on some appliances it does, but on a computer, man.
No, because the software continues to get more and more. Excuse me, the software gets continues to be upgraded.
Well, what was it? Was it Bill Gates at one point had said no one will ever need more than 16 kilobytes of RAM?
Yes. And then I said the same thing with 64K.
Well, because saying 16 kilobytes, that's not enough. But 64 will be just fine.
So consider this, though. When the first Macintosh came out, so it had a windowed operating system. When the first Mac came out, on a 128 kilobyte floppy disk, you could put a copy of the operating system, an application such as Word, and still have plenty of room left for dozens of documents on one single floppy disk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's back when programmers had to be efficient, but I mean, quality computers and stuff.
600.
Pretty sure it's true. Gates, IBM was looking to buy an operating system, and they contacted the people that had CP/M, and a phone call didn't get returned. There were some they didn't connect up. Gates finds out that IBM's interested. He goes to them and says, "Yeah, I've got an operating system." And they're like, "Okay, well, we'll buy yours then." At which point, Gates then goes and buys a CP/M clone from somebody else, and that was MS-DOS. But yeah, no, I mean, MS-DOS was clean. I mean, you could run MS-DOS on a 16K computer theoretically. I mean, not the later versions, but I mean.
I grew up on DOS. That's how I learned how to use computers, was on MS-DOS. That's where I played, my first computer games were in MS-DOS, where you'd have to go in and find your Sound Blaster Pro 16 sound card. And if you picked the wrong one, your game sounded like absolute nonsense. And I remember and trying to allocate the right amount of memory and getting the settings just right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because again, 640K limitation.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of these games were pushing to use 620K of memory.
Oh yeah, they were constantly pushing up against that limit. I remember those. I guess that didn't stop until Windows 95, which was the
Because 3.2 or whatever, which was basically up until, that's what I remember, up until 95 was 3.2, and that incorporated.
That was I mean, that was not an operating system.
It was a visual DOS shell.
Yeah, it was. I remember the first time I tried to use that after being a Mac guy, and it was like, oh my God, what is this? One of the things I liked about MS-DOS too was if you knew MS-DOS, you could sit down with the keyboard and just and do all this kind of stuff. And to people around you, you looked like an absolute stud.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do everything on the keyboard. And the ironic thing is you could instruct people and train them on MS-DOS easier than you could with a mouse. I did computer training in a prior life. With MS-DOS, you could say, look, hit this key, hit that key, hit enter.
Yeah.
We take for granted a windowed operating system.
No,
you try to train an adult who's never touched a mouse before to navigate a windowing operating system, man, and you put some time in that.
When I worked at a brokerage firm, Thrivent Financial, when I was hired at Thrivent, they used a secondary
too all the time.
Yeah, I lost all their cases. Actually, my job was to find lost money. So, because when you're journaling money between accounts and stuff like that, sometimes someone fat finger something and you get to a different account, and then the rep might not find it for 4 or 5 days. Because what do you do? You send in the request and someone screws it up in the back office and the rep doesn't check because it's supposed to get done. So then they go to check 3 days later. Oh my God, the $500,000 journal from one account to another didn't happen.
It's $500
No, it's gone from this account and it didn't show up in this one.
It wound up suspended between accounts. Yeah, I could see that would be a little awkward.
So my job became going and finding those and then backdating them and fixing all the trades and all that stuff. But when I first got hired there, it was RBC Dane Rauscher was the clearing firm for Thrivent. They're primarily an insurance company, so their brokerage firm was small and they used a third-party clearinghouse. So they used RBC Dane, and they used a back office system that was text-based, very similar to DOS. It was a mainframe system. And I mean, I had my entire job down to 16 keystrokes per case. I could just tab through all of the fields, enter a particular letter in each one, and I'd be done. And then they switched from Dane Rauscher to National Financial. I remember sitting in the training session from National, and they're like, "Okay, so we're here's how our system works. We use a graphical user interface, and I audibly in class said, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Why?
They cut the per case efficiency by like they doubled or tripled the time per item that you would have come in, just because you had to sit there with a stupid mouse and you had to use the mouse. They didn't have hotkeys.
Oh my God! I'll start screaming. Yeah, there's no sin on earth in my book worse than not giving me hotkeys.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh.
No, I mean that's it. Graphical user interfaces are not necessarily more efficient.
No, and for data entry, they're the least efficient things you can use.
DOS has the thing about graphical interfaces is you can poke around and figure stuff out.
Yeah,
so
they're forgiving.
They're forgiving, yeah.
They're gentle lovers.
Yeah. With DOS, if you don't get the syntax right, it just ain't gonna do it. There are no near misses in DOS.
Let me analogize this for the stream chat. We're getting off into boomer nerd hours, but
this is epic nerddom.
DOS is the dominatrix, and GUIs bring the snack tray. All right, so there you go. That's how
they're the snack tray. Well, real men use DOS. I mean, that's. I got a buddy of mine who was a dyed-in-the-wool DOS guy, and he is probably screaming at it. If he's watching this, he's screaming at his computer now, going, "You idiot! You didn't know anything about DOS." But yeah, I mean, but once you mastered it, I mean, you really could just, tear that thing up. My friend, I think I need to go to bed. I've been up now almost 24 hours.
Yeah, I think so too. Just 1 second, if I can.
Oh, yeah, if we got any other chat.
I think I've got just let's see, a couple more that are the 20 plus. So let's run through those real quick. Okay. Oh my God. Dias Striker says, tie 5 codes, 7 tenets, uphold the martial way. Stronger together, never alone. Don't let that yellow belt noob Nick ruin the case.
Too late.
Once a day minimum. That's my goal. Sanico says, if Ty wants to read a good magic fantasy that combines World War I and World War II with similar names and places and tactics, I recommend the Saga of Tanya the Evil. The 6th novel will drop on the 6th. There is
Tanya the Evil?
The Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Okay.
There is also a psychological element too. So there you go.
Okay.
Will K says, eat a jelly bean with a yellow jelly bean under that and Monica written on it. I don't know. That might be a good shirt.
The Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Tanya the Evil, yep.
Okay, all right. It is now logged in my brain, my iPad actually, but.
Colin says, it's payday rackets. Here's 20 to replace the money you purloined from Wells Fargo. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I stole all the money from Wells Fargo. That was great.
That's it.
Here's how I stole money from Wells Fargo. I told them that I'm the worst salesman on the planet, and they didn't believe me and hired me for a sales job. And then I quit after a year before they had the opportunity for firing me for being so bad at selling credit.
Who in their right mind would hire somebody that says, I am not a good salesman?
In my interview, I said, this is my exact line from the interview. Wait a minute. This sounds a lot like a sales job. If this is a sales job, I'm going to tell you right now, please don't hire me. I'm the worst salesman you've ever met. And they said, no.
Being a sales guy.
They're like, no. You'll be fine. We have a training program. And I said, I'm just telling you, I'm not good at it. Don't do it.
I will take your coin, but I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I
just worked for like 3 years at Circuit City, and I was a bad salesman there too. Don't do it.
Good selling, in my opinion, is a talent. Not a skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've come to the conclusion in life that you're either good at it or you're not. And yeah, training can make a good person better, but training isn't going to make a poor salesman into anything other than a poor salesman with training.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, I don't know if I was just super charming that day or why they were like, he must be kidding. No, they learned very quickly and then suffered through a year of my bad salesmanship.
Actually, you're probably right. They assumed that because you were personable, that could be turned into selling, but you're way too blunt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't mean that as criticism.
I'm bad at selling things. I've said it plenty of times.
I would never hire you as a rainmaker. That's in the law. That's what we call the sales force, the rainmakers.
Right. No, I'd be very bad at it.
Yeah. No. Well, like Nick, no, we really can't call a client morons. They pay us way too much. We have to put up with them. So next time, leave the moron at home if you would.
Okay, BDS Empire says Percy needs to stand up in court. Case lost again. Our fourth-year lawyer needs to train his minion better. Emperor,
I gotta tell you, that is the stupidest thing I think I've heard yet. And
all of them, wholesale. Every one of them believes it.
That's big talk, given the stupidity that I've seen. But who in their right mind thinks that you would win or lose a case based on standing up? And of course, like I said, guys, it didn't happen that way. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But like a judge, honestly, like a judge hasn't sat there and said, and had a lawyer forget to stand up when he talks. Like he says, oh, by the way, can you just go ahead and stand up when you talk? That'd be it.
Yeah. Our counsel approach, stand up next time. I appreciate that. And of course, the lawyer would go, oh my God. What people need to understand is judges are elected in Texas, and I suspect in most places. Would you like to know who finances the campaigns of judges primarily? It's lawyers. We're the primary political contributors to judge campaigns. So
because you know them.
Yeah. Yeah. And we want good judges. It's actually a pretty good little system we got going. I've never one time written a campaign contribution to a bad judge. I've written a number of, I've run that's the other thing. I don't guess these people know it. I've run a judge's reelection campaign and we won 76-24. So I'd say we did pretty well. But the idea that judges are going to nuke a lawyer, first, no judge would ever get reelected if they acted that way. I mean, it's just that simple. And these judges themselves have all been lawyers, okay? They know that mistakes happen. They know that embarrassing someone in front of their client is gonna make that person into an enemy. It just doesn't work that way. And
the finishing of the comment says, Emperor, protect you both. Thanks for your work and insight on the case. Hey, my pleasure. Goober Gabber says, just woke up and had a really good laugh when I saw Ty's shirt. Now I just need some coffee and my lazy morning can get started. I'm sorry you have to deal with those wackos, Ty, but we're all standing behind you.
You know what comes with the job? I can't imagine doing anything. Well, I would like to be a fighter pilot, but the eyes won't let me do that. But
yeah,
no. Don't feel sorry for me for a moment. I'm having the time of my life. I'm doing exactly what I like to do.
If you just charge the batteries in your glasses, you'd do fine as a fighter pilot. Kilo Bravo 777. There's only 2 left here. Kilo Bravo 777 says, has Ty changed his batteries for his glasses yet? And then Rocket Ship says, hey, Nick, tell Ty I'm sending him some Cuban cigars I got from Little Havana.
Oh, thank you.
Also, on an earlier subject, my buddy bought a 2019 Mustang. Thing has 2.3-liter 4-cylinder twin turbo. It gets 20 to 30 miles to the gallon. It gets 310 horsepower.
Good grief. In the 80s.
On a 4-banger.
well, in the 80s, though, nowhere near this good, but in the 80s, the Mustang GT had an intercooled 4-cylinder, little bitty tiny, little 4-cylinder with an intercooled turbo, and it generated 220 horsepower, which for that day was a lot. But God, that's amazing on a 4-cylinder.
Last time I went to Hawaii, it was just me and the missus, and no kids. And so I looked at the rental car things, and it was like $50 more to rent a convertible. And so I rented the convertible because I'm on Hawaii.
Sure, you're in Hawaii, yeah.
And so I get there, and I said, well, we have two. We have a Mustang, and we have a Mustang 5-liter. Which one do you want? And I said, wait, what's the difference? In price was the implied, because I'm like, you have two vastly different vehicles here. You have the little Mustang, and then you have
the 6-cylinder.
Yeah. And then you have the 5-liter Mustang.
Yeah, the V8.
And they said, well, the one has a bigger engine. I said, no. The price. What's the price difference, lady? And she goes, oh, no, they're the same. I was like, well, then I want the 5-liter.
What question?
Yeah. Why would anyone answer the opposite of taking the 5-liter? Oh, my God. It was great.
I had a trust beneficiary one time. I can disclose this because this beneficiary is deceased and no one will be able to tell. But her father died and left me as trustee of her and siblings. Anyway, she wanted, I can't remember, but it was one of the muscle. It wasn't a Charger, but it was the whatever similar next step up that Dodge had about 10 years ago. And the damn thing was just way too powerful for her, and she was going to kill herself. And I said, no, I won't do that. Well, she threw a fit. So I called the dealership, and she wanted the Hemi. That's right. She wanted the Dodge. It wasn't the Charger, but the Cavalier, or whatever it was. Anyway, wanted the Hemi. Well, the Hemi was like, I don't know, 500 horsepower or something. And I was like, no, you're going to kill somebody. I'm not going to do that. Well, she threw a fit and all this. So I called the dealership, and I said, okay, can you put the decals for the Hemi on on the 6-cylinder, And he's like, I don't think so. I said, can you just order decals? What would it cost? I mean, people have to have their decals torn up. How do you fix them? Well, I guess so. I mean, we'll have to charge us. Yeah, I understand. Anyway, long story short, she had all the decals and everything for the Hemi and the trim installed, but had the safe 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, whatever it was. I was happy as a lark, but she had her Hemi.
Tearing up the tracks.
But the damn thing, it really was. It's like 500 horsepower. It was some ridiculous amount. I'm going, there's no way.
Have you seen the Dodge Demon? Like an 800 horsepower factory.
I have heard about it. I think I read something about it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
at some point, it's like put wings on it and you'll be able to jump glide.
My buddy works at a dealership. I think I'm gonna slip him $200 or something to test drive it.
I think you ought to go test drive one. I mean,
one final.
What kind of buddy is he if he can't throw you that, right?
I know, but like, yeah. I'm good for it. I just want to hit the pedal. Okay. Finally, Dave A. This is the last one, and then I'll let you go. Dave A. says, "Hi guys, Ty asked Brianna about Bubonicons in Albuquerque. It is a sci-fi fantasy writing convention that has a bunch of alt history, etc. Would love to see the two of you there. Keep on keeping on, guys. Dave A.
You got that? Brianna is handling my technical stuff over here, so
thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't run this stream on DOS, so you're screwed.
Have you noticed you can actually hear me and the camera works and all that? It's not because of anything I've done.
So that's it. That's Bubonicons, like bubonic plague.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Well, I guess I'll have to let you go here.
Yeah. Thanks for all the stream, guys, and sorry if I got off on rants and stuff. It was a good day, though. We I think I'm satisfied with the outcomes. The case is not by any means over or won, but
not even close.
But we'll just keep showing up every day, and you guys on Twitter, please listen. At least consider what I said. And if you don't, well, I don't really give a shit. I don't even know you, but I really am offering this from the heart for what it's worth.
Please do this. I don't care if you don't.
But I don't care if you. I really don't. I have no particular investment in it, except that I hate to see people needlessly ruin things.
Right.
There's no good, and I don't think you like that either.
No. No, I think it's terrible.
All right, my friend. Hey, and as always, I enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody that sent in the cool stuff. I got to tell the Discord, we need a higher caliber of insulting tweets. Those weren't mean at all. Those are really just kind of meh.
They have a couple, but there's the problem is the other side just isn't funny.
No. Maybe we should start tweeting with sock puppets against ourselves.
That would be.
I bet we could insult us better than they can.
I know I can make fun of me better.
Yeah, and I'm certain I could too make fun of me. So maybe we'll have to do that. All right, brother. Good to see you again as always, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah,
we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Bone chants and all of the stuff that I've commanded you to do.
Yes, Master. Yes, evil overlord, Master. I shall go forth and do as I am commanded.
All right, man. Have a good night. All right, so there goes Ty. Let me figure out how to. I've got to figure out how to get my. Oh, here we go. Oh my goodness, what a disaster that is. Let me get the chat pulled up. I was not prepared for that. Oh wait, is it right there? I just gotta adjust it mildly. There we go. Okay. So there we go. That was Ty Beard. Let's get rid of this. We've got a lot of chats left to do. I hope you enjoyed. I always enjoy talking to Ty. I always enjoy having a good chat with Ty. I'm sure somebody's gonna be mad that I had a chat with Ty today on live so that everybody can see it. Hopefully they'll try to subpoena the communication I had with Ty today, which was broadcast to the literal anybody on earth can watch it. So, let's do the chats and wrap up the stream. There's still many chats to go through. I can some of these chats are for Ty, and of course he's not here to answer them. I will answer them to the best of my ability. But here we go. I feel like my camera settings got changed. Like I'm in the I don't know. I think I must have bumped it. Anyway, so we've got Christine Hansopoulos. Hansopoulos. Very Greek, I think. This Ty, will you be coming with Vic to New York City? I don't think so. We would love to meet you. I do not anticipate Ty going with Vic to New York City. Harbinger 345 says, just a PSA, boomer radiation, a certain wavelength of energy found exclusively to boomers, has largely negative effects on technology. Keep tech safe. Yeah, keep boomers away from all tech. Blaine 20 says, Darth Beard, Nick, I am your father. That was not Darth Vader at all, so don't think that. Oren says, little does Kick Vic and Lemoyne realize Nick not only advises Ty, but Judge Chup too. Oh yeah, Chup and I go way back. Chup's in my pocket. Just to be very clear on that. I definitely control the actions of Judge Chup. And he gets a portion of the GoFundMe too. Whatever he wants. SM Skorks89 says, when will you and Ty go over the lawsuit? I want to see Ty's reaction to Kevin Landau's filings. As soon as we can get Ty and Jim Bullock on the same stream to do it. That's the holdup, is getting Bullock on. And remember, I've promised a lot of shows, and they were all promised with the idea that this is going to slow down, that there would be these big gaps of time that would allow us to do stuff like that. And I keep thinking they're coming, and every time opposing counsel is very exceptional, and they keep doing stuff to make for all sorts of content. So that's it. Blue Satoshi says, given the context, Sandman's smirk was more of a poker face than a punchable face. Oh, I agree. Forever Miley fan says, I'm praying many blessings for you, Nick, for going above and beyond for a good man. And bless you, Ty. You seem very genuine and heartful. Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. Torga DW says, calculating Thaco was a rite of passage. You know what's interesting? Going back to that being a good man, I really do appreciate when you guys consider me a good man. I don't know that I'd ever call myself good. I'm a lawyer. But I do try to be good. And I get a lot of flack for stances I take and people I choose to protect. And I get it from lawyers, that's the embarrassing part. Like, why would you defend them? Because I'm a lawyer. Like my sense of morality isn't determined by the perceived actions of someone, but rather my perception of justice. And if I perceive an injustice, then that's what I'm going to fight against. I thought that's what we were all in the job to do, was to bring justice. Wingser012 says, where can I get a damn it Nick you lost the case again t-shirt? I'm going to talk to the Beard Daughters about the shirt. It's their design and their shirts. I'll talk to them about getting them posted somewhere, and as soon as I know, I will bring that information right to you guys. Blood of Neo says, hey Nick and Ty, are you both going to Bubba Fest? I am. Ty said he might, but he might not be able to depending on caseload. If so, use Wims for half off tickets if you haven't got them already. Hope to see you there. Thank you, brother. No Pony Special says, first super chat. Hey, thank you. Do you think Funimation should be asking why, out of all the contracted employers that they were targeted to investigate Vic Mignogna? They might want to figure that out. Why they weren't asked to investigate other people who have been banned from conventions for sexual misconduct or for inappropriate contact with fans. Why those people weren't investigated. Ben Frail says, Audie Murphy beat up Howard Hughes. Charmio says, hey, hello, Ty. I know you've been directed to Sabaton, but if you haven't heard it, To Hell and Back is about Audie Murphy. Truck and Bear says, hey, Ty, what's the statute of limitations on a wrongful death suit, specifically in Galveston County? Wrongful death? Probably. I'm not a Texas lawyer. 2 to 6 years. Somewhere in there. I'll see. Truck and Bear, send me that question by email and I'll get the answer for you. How's that? If you're still around, rekieta.org, send it there and I'll get you the answer for that one. Bloody Thumb says, Ty might want to know there's a video on YouTube of Ian Sinclair and J. Michael Tatum kissing both voice actors who have been mentioned in the lawsuit Anime Detour Auction 2013. Dustin Fritzfar says, my Californian acquaintance says the way to tell it's real Mexican food is a 2-item checklist. A, no English is spoken by the staff, and B, copious amounts of tin foil. That's true. That's absolutely true. Also, if they treat Hispanic customers better than white customers, you're in a good place. And even if you're white, you're in a good place. Trust me. Alpha Squash Zero says, nice to see you, Mr. Beard. Is there any repercussions for the other lawyer telling your associate to behave? That seemed very unprofessional. Keep up the good fight, sir. Short answer, there could be. Long answer, probably not anymore. Probably not anymore. But if it became an issue about completing the deposition or something, there definitely could have been repercussions for that. I don't think it would have gone well if they would have had to go up to the judge and lay out what happened in that deposition. He would have probably been very upset about the unprofessionalism. Again, it's not about her being female, it kind of is, but it's mostly about that being a junior associate not conducting the deposition and Casey addressing the junior associate directly rather than addressing the senior partner who's conducting the deposition. Gigantor068 says, Ty and Nick, have you ever heard of the band Bang Camaro? Nope. Reek says, Nick, you swap in a V12 into a better. You put in a larger V8, a crate motor. V8s just sound better. My old Mercedes will be subject to this. Oh, sounds good, buddy. I'm speaking as someone who knows very little about the practical aspects of cars. No Clue says, Ty, can you show us the fist you're hiding under your beard? No, that you don't want to see it. TST1740 says, look up From Can to Can't. Corey Taylor, Slipknot's vocalist, sings in it. Might be more up Ty's alley. Reek says, Google botched my message. What I meant was you do not install a V12 into a vet, you install a larger V8. Well, there you go. Obscure Anime Guy says, Ty use bird law. I think it would really help. Eli Avila. God, I cannot read. Oh my goodness. Eli Avila says, I have a 93 Mazda RX-7 with a C5 vet motor dropped in. 5.7 liters of vengeance. I'm taking that ride on heavy metal. It's the only way to travel down the road. The Wraith, a Stingray vet, is in it. Awesome. Very cool. Phoenix Lord Asterman says, donating just for Ty, talking Lone Wolf. Great movie. Bruce Rodriguez says, best mid to full-size sedan, needed on the cheap. I have no idea, buddy. No idea. No idea at all. Gawker's Death Rattle says, Shane Block? He blocks all chairs rights activists. Oren says, T. Greg tweets like a tween-age girl at a Bieber concert. Oh, God. Asuria Sky says, great bio. Duty by Bob Green about Paul Tibbets. Agith Thomas says, time to flex on you war geek boomers. All the war heroes you mentioned are wusses compared to the 5'3" Finnish war legend Simo Haya, nicknamed White Death by the Red Army. In the Winter War, he sniped and gunned down 700 plus Soviets in under 100 days. He survived one anti-tank round to the face and regained consciousness 11 days later, the same day the Soviets surrendered to the Finns. He died at the ripe old age of 96. Sabaton made a song about him called White Death. Look at his TV tropes page. That dude's amazing. If I remember right, he regained consciousness in a Soviet morgue tent. So like they thought he was dead. They had him in the tent laying on like a cot or whatever. And he gets up and he escapes the camp. Great. Great story. Great guy. Very cool. Thedius says, I'm waiting on Vince McMahon. Shows himself as a true mastermind of using "it was me all along." The Wrong Crafter says, heyo, Nick and Ty, the great and mighty Beardman. Actually, Nick's more of a stubble man. Oh, come on. Please, if you can plug my channel, I do Minecraft videos and anime reviews. The Wrong Crafter. The Wrong Crafter, there you go. Go check him out for Minecraft and anime. Charmio says, Nick and Ty have a connection. Careless whisper plays in the background. Matthew Ford says, where are the 100 plus women Ron claims he has, lol? If Ron ever approached 100 plus women, I think he'd get about 98 cans of pepper spray to the face. Alex Moat says, Nick doesn't care what people think about him because he understands the ultimate moral good of raising children and taking care of his family. Nick Naylor says, I'm effing around at work watching this stream. Am I stealing? Yes. Yes, you are. But it's justified. Did I? Are we that far? Oh, yeah, we are. We're doing great. Doing great. Robert H. says, Puppet Master Nick Rekieta made me give this super chat. My tendrils go deep. Chubby Pencil says, can't wait to meet up at Road Rage, Minnesota. Hey, that sounds great. I think I got to get Dick on the show to talk about Road Rage, Minnesota. I'm calling him tomorrow. H2P says, now wait a minute, Mike. No, Mike, no. Jesse Stickling says, first time super chat here. Hey, thank you. But heard Ty say that he would have liked to have been a fighter pilot. As a combat medic in the Army who has several friends in the U.S. Air Force Academy, I really felt that. Austin Heartless says, if you think the demon is nuts, look up the Hennessy Exorcist Camaro. Hennessy's not off the production line. That's the difference. But yeah, Hennessy does cool stuff, man. Ishaelson says, did both sides consent to share this live stream? Hashtag dope for law. Robert H says, good stream tonight. Here's some shekels. Hey, thank you. Rando number 9 says, just finished Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Here's some shekels for celebration. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, we've got Crusader Saracen says, Ty Beard and Nick Rekieta in classic beloved Western film The Good, the Late, and the Gay. Bohica says, how about for 75,000 subscribers, you released to Pornhub the videos you made with Drexel's squad, at least a few of the thousands of hours. Those are for my consumption only. Asphyxiation says, Ty, call off the Amazons. I need to send this again because my doctors are concerned and you missed it last time. I'm sorry for hitting on your daughter. She's cute and I was being nice. The Amazons keep kicking my bloody shins. They're too short. Rude. A hated 7 days to die says if you, and by rude I mean the shins. Hated 7 days to die says if you come to Germany, you have to get to know my dog. Oh, hi Ty. Crusader Saracen says, have you heard that Trump stripped 4 Navy JAGs prosecutors in the SEAL Eddie Gallagher case of achievement medals for their alleged misconduct, and the Navy Chief of Staff dismissed charges in the pending case against Gallagher's SEAL commander? I have not heard that. Very interesting. TLJ Screwjob says, what's with law Twitter saying Ty should amend the pleadings to show his evidence, and Ty is stupid for not amending the pleading? Is it just them playing the help defendants get more info card again, or do they actually have a point with amending it? No, the pleadings don't need to be amended. The pleadings don't need to be amended at all, because when you're doing a TCPA, it's the pleadings, affidavits, and the motion argument. Those are all evidence. So you can submit it by affidavit or affidavits and exhibits. You can submit all the exhibits with your motion. Why would you add them to the pleading? You don't have to in Texas. It's actually kind of an advantage to not add it all to the pleading. But what's with law Twitter saying it? Law Twitter is emotionally and embarrassingly invested in this case. And I'm invested in this case. I'm monetarily invested in the case. I get paid covering the case. My reputation relies on accurately conveying information to you guys. Law Twitter has no monetary gain. They don't really get any special notoriety gain. They're certainly not gaining an audience for their takes on it. They have nothing in the case. There's nothing on the line for them. And if they're wrong, they'll just ignore it. Look at T. Greg today. Ignored the fact that he said over and over that Ty would probably get his motion granted, but he said Ty would not get the full 3 weeks. Instead, Ty ended up getting 4. T. Greg acted like Ty was going to get less than 3 weeks, and he ended up getting more than it. And then immediately he retcons it and just tweets and tweets and tweets, and signal to noise ratio goes up, and then you can't even find it anymore. Unless you look. They're just going to disappear and move on. That's what Ty was getting at, especially for, I think he was sending a message to other parties in the case. If you're listening to these morons on Twitter, they're going to be gone no matter what happens to your case. If you lose, they'll poof. You'll never be able to find those opinions again. They're gone. And that you won't be able to go after them, because they're on Twitter just talking. Where Tiger Ray says, Ty, do you have a plan to effectively counter Jennifer Lynn Hunt's smear campaign and or hers and similar affidavits? Yes, of course he does. If not, I'll give him one. You don't have to give any specifics, but can she be dealt with? If it isn't read before Ty leaves, Nick, can you ask Ty this question? I don't need to ask Ty that question. They're a firm that is prepared constantly. That's their whole thing. Is they're ready. They do the work. Jennifer Lynn Hunt's affidavits have credibility issues. Looks like she may not have even been there, and she may have admitted all of this. Big problems. So yeah, of course they do. Test Not on Holiday says, hey Nick, are you ever going to talk about Jonathan Yanev? This is a person so garbage that not even people who are overwhelmingly for trans rights will refer to him as a woman. Perhaps as somebody who actually lives in Canada. I don't know. Josh of the Kiwi Farms talked about him. I don't know much about him, her. I don't care about them at all. Henry Aller says, would you ever do a stream with Mike the Cop? Wait, is that Donut Operator? Whole thing is about humanizing the badge. No, Mike the Cop is not Donut Operator. I've seen Mike the Cop. Humanizing the badge and teaching about the law from a cop's perspective. He's down whenever you are. Also, best Primarch is Layman Russ. Love you. Oh, is Mike the Cop actually down to do a show? That'd be cool. I'd be interested in that for sure. Snack Sheet says, if I send Ty a bottle of Jack Daniels, should I include a paper bag for that authentic hobo taste? Yes. But the paper bag should have grease stains on it. And like, you know, from a Hardee's that they put it in later. It should be a reused paper bag. Night of Hopex says, was Lemoyne supposed to be named Lemoindra, meaning the lesser, pronounced Lua hilariously? Surely his parents just made an error on the birth certificate. No way they intended to write that voiceless potato into their actual family, did they? Crusader Saracen says, Ty, if you're looking to get into historical heavy metal band Sabaton, I think you'd enjoy the song about Audie Murphy to Hell and Back. Short Round says, Ty, hope you like the shirt I made you. Also, Nick, ask why you have a super lawyer trophy and he doesn't. Short Round's bad police advice 16. If you sell broken drywall as crack rocks, we can't charge you, but you might get beat by the local crackhead. And then finally, Test Not on Holiday says, Aziz Ansari should set up Russell Greer with his ex. They'd go together as they've both been on bad dates. Come on. Two more. Blaine 20 says, what would you do for a Clout Dyke bar? Kilo Bravo 777 says, make your name official. Give us your best Screech. I didn't watch Saved by the Bell. I can't do a Screech impression. Yokose says, great show, Nick. You two rock. Hey, thanks, buddy. All right, guys, that's it. Am I doing any Twitch tonight? Yeah, I'll do a little Twitch tonight. We'll do a little Twitch. I gotta go to the bathroom, so give me about 10 minutes to get set up and get some cookies and stuff. Yeah, we'll do some Twitch. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me and Ty. Thanks for hanging out through the super chats. I'm not sure what's coming up tomorrow, but I'll let you know. I actually want to talk to Dick about PR and marketing for Vic, so maybe that'd be a good time to talk to him. If he's available, I'll ask him if he's around to do a show tomorrow and talk about Road Rage and all that stuff as well. Anyways, thanks guys for hanging out. Peace to all of you. I will. What am I doing? What am I doing? Let's this thing. Oh, I gotta turn that down. Music is playing. Show is ending. But do stop over to Twitch. I'll be on in a moment. I think I'm going to play some Warhammer Chaos Bane tonight. Yeah, but do come hang out. Come hang out. And we'll talk to you then. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Peace.
Explaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an art bag, a bow, more a love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all planet folk, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the thought better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed,